go through this race, so we're just going to track with CSAM at the front. I'd switch it onto autopilot if I could, but I can't quite make a connection at the moment, so we're having some technical issues. Race is still running, which is the most important thing. We're still raising money for charity, and that was a beautiful donation from Racing Motorsport, Racing Dutch Motorsport, who have put us at £2,600, which is an incredible situation. So while the teams work behind the scenes to try and make sure that we get everything sorted out, we're keeping track of the racing here. It's 4:55 a.m. in game time. For me here in the UK, it's 9 o'clock at night. We're probably going to finish this after midnight, but that's all good because it's been for a worthy cause. Track temperature here is down at 19 degrees, and we're on board here with James Hartnell. He's in third position, with Christopher Aaron in second position, so they've managed to inherit a position ahead of them. See, Sam is in first. Dalking has taken the steering wheel again in fourth position in the Ferrari in the Dalking community car. We've got Esh in fourth place, and we've got Vasilakis, which is Aris, from turn one. They're running well in sixth position. Johan is running in seventh in the McLaren. Rommel in eighth, and Jardier is back behind the wheel in ninth position. And we have Laws in 10th position with the Aston Martin. So going well so far. Donations are coming in thick and fast. I think the last count I made, we had 44 drivers still in the race. We started with 50, just to give you a quick count back. We logged into a practice server well before midday today, and we had a good comfortable 40 minutes or so in the practice server. When we switched over to the race server and we started the race, or when we switched over to race settings, we had a little technical issue after a couple of laps. I think some teams found themselves in the pits and couldn't escape, and then we managed to solve that. We had to restart the server, which of course causes a great deal of distress because everybody then has to re-log in. And the logging process to get onto the server is always driver ones have to be first. And I think we maybe got a little bit, some of the drivers dropped out and dropped in and had connection issues, and then it got in a mix. We hit the reset button again, which I think is important to do. We don't want to, everyone's been waiting for this for weeks and weeks. We're going to run this 12-hour race, and it's just a case of being patient, get through all those technical glitches and make our way through to the race. And we did that, and we started off maybe half an hour, 35 minutes or so late, but all good. The server stabilized and we've got ourselves into the racing situation. We're probably, I'm going to say, 5 or 6 different drivers through this. Many teams are driving with 4 drivers, some are running with 3. So we've had some different stints. We had quite a lot of double stinting at the start as Dalking and Enore Rose basically entertained us at the front of the track for some laps, barely a second or two apart from each other. And then since then, obviously the packers got spread out. We had quite a lot of early pit stop changeovers, and we ended up with a very spread and distributed track. From there on in, it's been a number of teams that have been lapped, and we're running with quite a lot of large deltas now. But everyone's still here. We had some discussions with the team that was placed in 48th position, and we encouraged them to stay in the race for as long as possible, because staying in a 12-hour race and making it to the end of it is an achievement in itself. And we're here to raise money. The racing side of it and the winning side of it is definitely second for tonight. So, and on that point, we've raised £2,617, comfortably doubling our original target. Everyone has been so generous. It doesn't matter how much money you put forward. I know we're celebrating when somebody puts in a big donation. Of course, we're very excited when we see those land. But the reality is, it doesn't really matter what that is. Just having a quick stopping second here on the stream while we just organize ourselves in the back office here.
Hello, I'm back with you.
And do you have a news update?
Our tech team are working on it.
Okay. We'll hold then for a second, and we'll go mute, go silent. We'll be back as soon as we can. Just hold for a second while we do some configuration. Everything's working fine, server's going well, and we're okay. Just got to make sure that we get the director reset up again so that I can take control of the cameras. Hold that thought. Yep, I think I'm back in the room. Helicam, yes, click, check. Thank you very much. Technical issues navigated around. Thank you very much, FX and Charger, making sure that that links back together. So we're back in the race, and we're looking at Christopher. Now we'll take a look on the back because he's pulling a back marker around with him. I'm pretty sure that's definitely not the Lamborghini of James Hartnell. Chris in second place. This is a Pro-Am driver in second. We've made a mention of that a couple of times, but it's definitely worthy of note. Just running through here, our top 3 pro drivers are CSAM, James Hartnell and Dalking, who's back behind the wheel. Our top 3 Pro-Am drivers are Christopher, Esch and Johan. And our top 3 Am drivers are Laws, Gixer and Malia. So while we've been off, recent donations from Team 666, £30. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Currently running at £2,647. And on that note, that probably reminds me I should put something in there just to make sure we keep the coffers going.
I'm very much due. We've got pit wall back up, so I'm just doing a little bit of reconfiguring on that. And then I will be back in a happy stats place.
Yes,
my happy place.
Happy place needed in order to be able to see what the heck's going on. Yeah, I'm in my happy place. I can control the cameras.
There we go. Everybody's happy.
So let's take a look at James here in third position. Some great views. Obviously now it's 5:10 a.m. in the race, and we have 1 degree increase in temperature on the racetrack. It did go down to 18. We're now back at 19, and you'll see that temperature increase now. I heard earlier when we were discussing the racing with a couple of teams that some cars are performing much better with cool racetrack situations rather than the hot. They were saying that one of their, I think it was a Ferrari, that was really struggling to get traction when it got too sticky, too hot. So we'll see some of that, I guess, as we go through here. But so far so good for James, who's making good progress here in third place, still in the podium position.
I think we should pull Charger in for a chat now.
Oh, have we got Charger?
Him and FX scrabbling away to solve problems for us, and he's back in the waiting for comm, so I'm going to ambush him and drag him in.
Do it. Bring him in. Charger.
Insta.
Oh, how's your race been?
Terrible.
Well, I'm laughing because there's been a few people that have responded like that. You're not on your own. Tell us what happened.
To be perfectly honest, I've done a lot of practice in dry and wet. I never thought about the nighttime temperature drop. I just felt like, with this recent update, the car just feels like it's on ice in low temp. I had a couple of offs, and then I had to pit, and the tyres were underinflated, so I only did a 40-minute stint. I'll be going in when the temperature comes back up. So
your car's in at the minute in the pits. You're having a driver swap, or you got a bit of damage to correct?
I'm not actually in the team chat at the minute. They may be doing a stint.
Okay, so and where did you are 37th on the grid when you started the race, currently 41, still plenty of racing to go. So did the tyre pressure issue, did everybody struggle with that? Was just you not really getting your head around it when you took it out in the night?
Actually, it was my mistake because when I went into pit for damage, I think I had about 40 odd seconds damage. I didn't want to actually change the tyres, so it put a tyre set on that wasn't in our strategy, I think.
Yeah. And many offs. How are you doing with the old off tracks warnings? And how many car-to-car contacts have you had in 8 hours?
I think we've only had the one contact, which was the car at the top of Eau Rouge, which I think it was Herbie was driving, I think, and he just couldn't avoid it. He was across the track and he just slammed into it.
Yeah,
So,
we caught that late on the stream. We picked up a car that was pretty much static on Radion. So I mean, I have no idea how many people got collected. I know one of our front rows hit them as well. So things happen, don't they?
It's endurance. It's part of endurance. It happens. The good thing is people are still in the race and they want to finish. Finish is a win, isn't it?
Right. So what's your reaction? £2,647 raised so far.
I am absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
My other half was in tears earlier.
Oh, that's so sweet. It is so gratifying, isn't it? Everyone's doing what they want to do, right? They're sim racing, they're enjoying their hobby, and pushing themselves as fast as they can on the track, and that is very consuming as a thing, isn't it? You're sitting in the car, you're just being yourself. But then to think about all the times when people are not in the car and they're giving money and being so generous. We've had so many great contributions so far. Every single person who's put money forwards, it's just wonderful.
And that's a great reminder for me to go jump in and
shout while I'm chatting. Yeah, you should put another one in. You're overdue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean the reaction to this event has been, it's just overwhelming. I never expected this, guys. So thank you to everyone.
It has been amazing, hasn't it? I watched this building up over the last 2 or 3 weeks in the Discord channels, and you can see people just getting more and more excited as the days go past and as the hot stints come through, and all the hours that people have been putting in to be competitive. But it's really important that everyone recognises that what they're doing is for charity, and I think it just helps everyone push on a bit more. It looks to me like Herbie's getting a little bit mugged there at the minute, if you can see the stream. So keeping it on the track, that's all that matters. I spoke that up.
Look away.
Maybe look away. Maybe a little bit of contact there. We'll brush over that, but look at that quality driving from Herbie. He acknowledged that there was contact. He held position and waited for the car to rejoin. That's exactly how RWB rolls. Really, really great to see.
Yeah, he's a respectful driver, and Flack and Bruin, to be honest. I'm just the problem child.
Oh, you're the pain. Okay, I can't keep up with these donations.
Whoa,
we just had a 10. We just had a. Did you have a 10, a 30, and a 50?
Yes, we did.
Oh my god. Okay. Gotta say, the Flying Dutch team are just constantly putting their hands in their pockets. There's over 250 quid I think they've put down already, which is outstanding. Thank you so much, guys. That's awesome.
Can't even keep up at the moment, and nor can the donation page. We have to wait for that to catch up.
It must be gratifying, Charger. I know you and the team have put in so much hard work to build up to this event, and I mean the finale of the season-long endurance, but to see it coming together like this so well with so many drivers, 179 registered drivers, and yeah, you must feel really proud. It's quite a special moment.
I got a hug from the missus, yeah. So it's, I had a bit of a sleepless night last night, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can blame that on your track performance then, if you didn't sleep last night.
Yeah, I think it must be. Yeah, that's what I love it.
I love it. That's what you worked for, right? All this hard work, and you got a hug. I was maybe expecting a little more, but.
Well, that might be late. That might be late.
Yeah, at 2 a.m. when you finish, that'll be very welcome. Okay, another donation. Thank you to Anonymous. We don't care. Anonymous will take as much money as you've got. Going well so far. We are 3 hours and 20 minutes to go. What's the target then for Team 69, running in 42nd place? What's your best case scenario?
Just to finish.
Yeah.
We've had a bit of a bad run, but that, it's endurance. We could do better. The drive, the guys are really doing well. They're consistent, but stuff happens, So
Yeah, it does, and it definitely happens when there's 50 cars on the track. I did the helicam for a lot of the first lap because it's just mind-boggling to see so many cars on the track and line abreast. Being really respectful of the space. I know it took a second start because we had some technical issues, but once we got the race going, it's. I'm not experiencing it from where you are in the driving seat, so I don't know how rough and tough it is out there on the track, but from what I've been watching, what the streams has been showing has been just really good quality racing throughout. A couple of issues, I'm sure the guys in the stewards room would say not so clean all the time, but so far so good.
I'll be honest, what's going on behind the scenes is crazy. The stewards are just doing, they're getting a bit of flack, but the job they're having to do there with the amount of reports coming, some of them is mistakes, which have caused some multi-car accidents. There's nothing we can do about that, but they're doing a great job. And yourselves, I've been listening most of the day. Actually, you're doing a great job.
We're having great fun doing it. Me and Dan had this chat before. We said, let's do it for 4 hours, because that's really hard work. When we did the 2-hour practice last week, we had a long chat afterward and said, what everyone else is putting so much into this. I feel I want to do more. I didn't think I'd survive this long, and I can guarantee I won't sleep tonight. But it's been so worthwhile just to see that money piling up and just the enjoyment. Everyone's dropped in. We've had loads and loads of interviews. We've heard from real racing drivers. We've heard from people who've got 12 hours in the game to people who've got 900 hours in the game. Pros, pro-ams and amateurs have all dropped in, and it's just been really great to hear their perspectives because, like you say, everyone's got a story to tell of their endurance race. I've really enjoyed it.
I think there's a real adrenaline burst that comes from just taking part in an event that's so huge. With the amount of people that are involved in organising and the amount of people that are taking part in the race, that I actually find that I don't want to walk away from it. I want to be part of it. I want to see how it plays out. I'm really enjoying it.
It is one of those things you just can't pull yourself away from it.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because my missus had a bit chat with me a couple of days ago and said, putting a lot of time into this. And I said, it's great fun, isn't it? It's lockdown and everything. Let's just go for it. Hobbies are great when they're this engaging. And she gave me the evil eye. And so I might be cutting one night down a week, but so far so good. I managed to flog it to her. She's contributing as well, which is great. And but you're right, it gets very addictive. Whatever role you're playing in this, it gets very addictive.
I think all sim racers need to have an understanding wife or girlfriend, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, you just wouldn't get away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you say that, and I'm going to call you out because our. One of our leading teams, car number 150, has our one and only female driver who's not currently behind the wheel. Jerome Ruling is currently behind the wheel. But Aonori Rose has been showing all the gents in this racing endurance race what it's like to drive a fast car. She's been absolutely one of our fastest drivers of the day. And that's great because we want to see more women doing sim racing. We need them. We need as much talent as we can get, and it's just great to see her doing so well, top of the table.
There was another one, Elizabeth Novak.
Yeah.
She didn't make it, did she? Technical issues. Her ISP dropped out.
Yeah, I saw that really. She's done so much practice as well.
Yeah, we made a suggestion. We should try and do something just to make sure she does get a chance to race because there's been a few of those incidents. I know we had a chat with somebody whose pedal set failed in the second lap. Somebody else whose wheel failed. Hardware issues happen. There's nothing you can do. We don't know what people's home setups are like. Somebody jumped on and said about a year ago they were playing this game on an Xbox wheel plugged into their PC, which I thought was really sweet.
360 wheel, so that's a pre-force feedback era. You have to
look
be
about 6-inch diameter
to understand what that wheel is. Yeah, you have to go back a little bit.
Really been enjoying it, Charger, and thank to you for all the hard work and the opportunity for me and Dan to just have a little bit of fun for a Saturday.
No, it's great. Thanks to all the admins and all the stewards, the commentators, everyone that's done it all. I've done very little.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not true, but that's really great. And what we're kind of running in now to the 3-hour mark. So my feeling is, if you're in contention in this race, now is the time where you'll be having quite a heated chat with your teammates to talk about finishing strategy. What position can we take? Right at the minute, you're saying your strategy is to finish, which is good enough, isn't it? It's hard enough to do one of these races anyway. But yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks for jumping on, Charger.
And I think we've had another £55 donation from Flying Dutchman Motorsport. Wasn't their last one 52.6, 7 minutes
I've
ago?
just worked it out. I've just worked it out. Every time there's a non-round number, they round it up. Have you seen that?
What I like is their previous donation. They actually said, "Please, Charger, tell me to stop."
Yes, I'm just saying that actually. I'm not going to tell anyone to stop. If you want to keep doing that,
Yeah.
As long as you don't want it back, because we haven't got it.
We're approaching $3,000 right now. I mean, wow.
Oh my god. Okay. Having a great time here. Charger, thank you so much for jumping in. If you want to, obviously it's your business. Jump in whenever the heck you want to and tell us what to do.
Yeah, I'll pop in towards the end. I'll have to do another stint, so I don't know those things.
Yeah, well, good luck. Enjoy. Hope those temperatures come to you a bit.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to get light and to warm up a bit, so I'll do it in the car.
All right. Thanks very much, and keep the good racing.
Cheers.
Right, so we are tracking then. Let's just do a quick run through, make sure we're up to speed. We've got James Hartnell in the lead car with a gap of only 6 seconds to car number 2. So what's happened is, in that previous sessions, Dalking, who was leading our race for quite a long time here, has dropped back by a lap as far as I can see by the stream here. We've got James Hartnell in first position, Ruling in second, around 7 seconds behind, and Dalking, who was running at the front of this, has now dropped back considerably. That looks like a big gap, but that's
50 seconds as of last sector. One of the things we've lost, because we had to restart pit wall where all our stats are, is I don't have a picture on pit strategies at the moment, because it's only showing me from now onwards. So how this pans out in terms of teams coming into the pits and coming back out again, we'll just have to see over the next hour.
It will be revealed to us as it is revealed to you.
Yes.
3 pro teams in the top 3, and then our first Pro-Am is Olivier Curtin in 4th place, with Aris in 5th, running. Let's just go through that. So that's Olivier Curtin there in the fantastic looking Ferrari, and Aris, who's behind the wheel right now, is in 5th place.
Actually, Wilhelm pinged me directly to say we're P5 now. It's just great that we've had drivers that are dropping in, and they want to keep us up to date with their race. We've had a conversation with them, and they're having a fantastic race, right? They drop down a bit.
I wonder what position they've got their eyes on then. Because
so it's basically saying they're a lap and 67 down at the moment, so they've got their work cut out.
Okay, I just realised
they've got 3 hours to
but that is for position. In front of them is that not right? That's Olivier Curtin. Is that wrong? Have I got that wrong?
No, they've got quite a big gap between P5 and P4, so I'm pretty certain they're not in sight.
No, this is looking back from Olivier Curtin's car, and that is definitely Aris behind.
Wow. Okay. But are they a lap down and they've got to unlap themselves? I don't know. I'm reading it as they're a whole lap, and but that could just be crossing over the line. Yeah, let's keep an eye on that, because that could be that we're just not quite getting the right stats at the moment.
Yeah. On screen it's saying +2 laps. I'm checking on my screen here, and it doesn't say that. But does it say it on pit wall? Is pit wall able to do gapping of cars? Yes, that should be okay, shouldn't it?
So pit wall is giving us 1 lap and 67 seconds.
Correct.
So I think actually he is a second behind him right now, but then he's got another whole lap to work his way around.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so
for a minute there.
Yeah, I know. Double checking each other all the time here. Yes, Robert De Vries has just corrected us on chat. Thank you, Robert. They are a lap down. Okay, so let's look at position 6. That's Johan. He's driving in the Nissan. Is that correct? Yeah, that's the Nissan. Let's just check him out. No, that no, that's a McLaren. Sorry, Johan is in the McLaren, and he's running in 6th position. Lucas Rommel is in 7th. Max Lentini is in 8th. Ivan Shermantinsky is in 9th. Jardier is running in 10th position. Gixer is running in 12th. Sorry, got a couple of changeovers there. Wouter Vleyen is in 13th position. Henry Wardell is in 14th. Joshua Barton is in 15th. Ricardo Borges is in 16th. Jürgen Walby is in 17th. Matthew Marlowe in 18th. Andre Moy in 19th. Medster in 20th. Otto Winkler in 21st. Fabian Perben in 22nd. Simon Partridge in 23rd. Joshua Griffin Meek in 24th. We've got Speed in 25th. Alex Hode in 26th. Eddie Warden in 27th. Verlance in 28th in the pits as it stands. And
Again,
RWB,
nice livery.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, you picked that one up. RWB Helmet in 29th, running in car 421. Godzilla is running in 30th. Another good livery, that one. And Dylan Muller running in 31st with Carzolia in 32nd. Ruben Simonite is running in 33rd. Gnesi Bucek is running in 34th. Felix Fritsch is running in 35th. Andre Costa in 36th. In 37th is Gautam Srinivasan and Jack Mason in 38th, with Sean Wright in 39th and Westenberg in 40th. Stefan Findecley is in 41st. Herbie is in 42nd. Grant Swenson is in 43rd. And I've scrolled to the very bottom to find...
I think that's probably our remaining contenders.
And God bless them. They were in 48th position early on in the running, struggling with 8 or 9 pit laps with only 3 or 4 hours gone. And here they are. They're in 44th, but they're still in the race.
Still hanging in there.
Very proud of you. Pedro Pereira behind the wheel and doing a good job. Keep up the good work. You're only going to get faster and faster, and you've beaten your 48th position, and who cares how.
So
that's great.
While you've been doing that run through, I at one point had 4 drivers waiting to talk to us. I've now got 3. Okay. So I'm going to bring Martin Peterman in. He's been waiting for ages to talk to us.
Bless
him. So I'm going to bring him in now.
Hey, Martin. How are you?
Probably nearly fell asleep while you're waiting for us to drag you into the commentary booth.
Yeah, almost.
How's the race going for the second quarter? Actually, probably the third quarter. How are you getting on?
As Charter said, terrible.
Always good.
And you mentioned the car standing on Radion. That was us.
Oh.
I lost the car on the entrance off the corner, and out of nowhere the back snapped in, and I spun and standed really on top of Radion and got pushed, I think, twice, and then had to limp back to the box and spun also 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
So the car just lost control. This is the problem that we've seen with a few BMWs. We talked about it earlier, didn't we? The Tyre model is not helping you a great deal. So did you end up absolutely static on the top of Radion? No movement at all, and then you just took 2 big impacts?
Yep, that's correct.
So difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. We did just about catch some of it on the stream. We did see that you were static, and I was wondering. And then I think you pretty much hit escape, didn't you, and jumped into the garage rather than trying to drive around. Is that right?
No. I tried to limp back to the box after that with a broken car, and I got a few laps later. I had to go to pit, and due to the repair, I missed to adjust the tire pressures again. And as I'm new to Assetto Corsa Competizione, I think the box menu is really a mess.
It is difficult to control,
And if you do not used to it, so I had the wrong tire pressures, and had 1 hour to drive with only 26 to 27 psi, and it was really, really bad. I only was on 22.3 to 22.4 and 5, and got hit again when somebody tried to unlap me. And yeah, on top of that, I got, I think, 3 penalties for unsafe rejoining and ignoring blue flags. I don't know why. And yeah,
it has been a difficult race. You've just listed out an absolute, and yet here you are still racing with 3 hours to go. So big credit to you for sticking at it.
Yeah, I tried and went to box to hand over to Ronnie, I think, and yeah, Ronnie had a disconnect, and Stefan could not rejoin for a few minutes, and yeah, because of that we lost places up to 41, but at least we just talked to him. We are in front of Charger.
Yeah, there you go. So
our new goal.
And by the way, while we've been talking, big thanks to FX, just put 65 into it. Also Racer Soul another 10, and No Brakes as well as Damien just put in 50 quid. Really, thank you everyone. That's another £120 while we've been chatting.
Oh, we had Gabsy through 30 in as well. And Gabsy, by the way, I had to read his comment out on the donation. All that time Charger is in his shed, I'm in his house with his missus.
That's why he gets a hug.
I love it.
So not having the best of times then, by the sound of it, Martin. What's the recovery plan? Is it just survival now?
Yeah. I decided to hand over the race to the other 3 guys. They're more used to the car, and I do not like the behavior of the cars. It's not rational for me. Personal, I cannot lose a car in the first part of Radion when it's going up. It's normally to lose a car when you hit the top, because of the load change. But I lost the car several times before turning in, and the feedback is also very weird, I think, for me personally, and I really do not like that game.
Yeah, it's just taking a little get used to. Does that mean that you're hanging up your racing gloves for this race and letting the other guys do the rest of the stints?
Yeah, that's true. I think I have now 2 stints, and I think after the disconnect, Stefan and Ronnie will have 1 stint both, and maybe jerk another one and then finish.
So are you going to stay online to keep them awake and keep them happy, or is that it for you and it's time to go to bed and have a good night's sleep?
At first, a good night, 1 or 2 good night drinks, I think.
I know that you want a good night drink and a good night's sleep, but there must be a part of you that's thinking you should stay on and keep those guys awake and alive.
I think that there are 3 guys. They're old enough. They can do it on their own.
Got it. It's bedtime. Bedtime after a beer.
They're all adults. They're big boys. They can just cope with it. I'm off.
Totally right.
All right. Thank you so much for jumping in, Martin. It was really great to speak to you. And it's a shame it didn't work out. Keep plugging away with ACC. I felt the same way when I first used it for the first couple of months. I struggled to understand what the car was doing underneath me. But all these sims are great. Race from the Grey, iRacing's great, and ACC's great as well.
Thanks again to the team for your donation, a monster donation, absolutely amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Okay, thank you then.
Cheers.
Have a good evening, and everybody, a good race.
Yeah. All right.
Cheers.
Well, sleep well, have a nice beer, and see you in another race, I'm sure.
Goodbye.
Okay. Hey, you know what, Dan? I've got one of my homebrew beers. I don't know whether I mentioned this to you before, but I've been homebrewing while I've been off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. COVID and everything, and you're trying to make new hobbies and fill your time at home and all that good stuff. I started to do homebrewing, and
never mentioned it.
Now I know I haven't mentioned it. It turns out I'm a bit of a hero brewer. So in the next half an hour, as he nearly loses it there. In the next half an hour, I think I might pop open a beer and just relax for the final leg.
I'll be honest, I am joking because Beanster was kind enough to actually, even while we're in lockdown, drop a couple of beers on my doorstep and then head off and wave as he drove off in his C63.
Only to keep you sweet for doing these kind of things.
And I have to
also,
say,
I need somebody else to test the beer.
For a first effort, I thought it was stunning, delicious.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Well, I'll be the judge of that as well later on this evening. So,
so anyway, just from an organisational point of view, whilst we get another donation, Chargers come in with the 3686. I think that's going to hit us on the $3,000.
Oh, look at that. Tidy work.
He's just showing off some maths here now, where he at the time I think he was just hang on there.
Oh, you don't think he just randomly hit buttons on the keyboard?
That's possible. So we've got 2 drivers lined up to chat to us. We've got CSAM and we've got Multi 97 from one of the Jardier teams.
Love that name.
And we've got the potential for Aris to join us as soon as he's finished his stint in about the next 10 minutes. So we need to get a monk on here.
Okay, get you loud and clear. Let's have a chat with CSAM. Those guys are running at the top, so I'd like to really hear how their race has gone because it's looking very comfortable. CSAM.
Yes.
How are you?
Great. And you?
You're having an amazing race.
Too bad, actually. Yeah,
not too bad.
Not too bad.
It's all right.
Yeah, Einar is doing an amazing job to put us in front, and then we have to stay there with Jeroen. But, it's not as easy as it seems.
No, I mean, your car hasn't been out of the top 3 the whole race. I mean, we were saying this before earlier on. You know, when you watch the TV and you watch endurance racing or Grand Prix or whatever, and they always do this vote for your racer, vote for your driver of the day. Most of the time when I watch those votes, they rarely vote for the driver that's at the front. Because everyone just assumes the driver at the front has got it easiest because they're quicker and they've got a clear track and all that rubbish. It's not the case. It's really hard when you're at the front like you are to keep the pace high because you've got so many back markers to pass through and you've got to nail that consistency. Your team seems to have every driver, all of you seem to be really, really strong, and you've got a really solid setup obviously in the car.
Yeah, the setup is the strongest part of our team because I guess in 4 or 5 teams that are at the front, they are esports driver, and we have one in our team who is Einar. But Jeroen and myself are a tiny bit slower, so we have to push really, really hard. But the car is really stable. It's just amazing. And sorry.
No, I was going to say, I was just observing, and this might be the most insulting thing I could say to you, but Einar seems like the fast driver here. She has been absolutely on it in those first 2 or 3 phases of the race. I mean, stretching the lead, I saw a couple of times, really pressuring Dalking through that first 2 or 3 hours. Just great to watch. She's an amazing driver.
Yeah, and really consistent. She got 1 or 2 track cuts, and then Jeroen got 1, and I got 1, so we had a drive-through. But I guess most of the team will have 1.
I missed that.
So you would have been P1 then. So even with the drive-through, you're up there in P2.
Yeah. So we had, but P1 had a drive-through as well. So we are on par.
Okay. Yeah. So 10 seconds the gap. How are you? What's the plan? Now is the tough end of the race. We're only just under 3 hours to go. You've got to be thinking about your strategy to win this, haven't you?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you don't have to share. Keep the strategy close to you. But I take it, are you going to have another go at the steering wheel, or have you finished your racing?
Probably. Still, if we keep our schedule, I still have 1 hour to do at the end of the race.
Okay. And just for everyone who's on the stream, by the way, and when we did some practices early in the week, CSAM was kind enough to correct me on my pronunciation for Lecum. and I mentioned earlier on the stream, I have a Belgian friend of mine who's a very close friend, and after you told me that the pronunciation was actually Lecom, I went to my friend and I said, is this guy real? Is he telling me Le Combe is correct, or is he just trying to make me say something because I'm stupid English? And my Belgian friend actually recorded his own voice saying Le Combe about 4 or 5 times for me to prove that it was the correct. So much appreciated it, because I think it's important to try and get the way, the words correct. It's not easy because there's 29 different nationalities here racing in this race, and that's been a challenge.
Yeah, I guess for me, I was thinking you were about to say those corners' names quite a few times during the race, so I was trying to help you.
Yes. Yeah, it does help. It makes me sound more intelligent than I am.
Well,
so I appreciate that.
That might be a stretch, to be fair, but yeah. I think it's nice that you're making an effort.
Thanks. So you've got one more stint in the steering wheel then, Sam. Okay, that's interesting. I'll check in on what I think your strategy is for the end of this race. Dalking, are you gapping Dalking? Oh, it's very difficult.
He's closing. He's closing. That was going to be my
yeah.
next question. How are you feeling about watching that gap come down at the moment? And are you absolutely on pace, or maybe just kind of steady at the moment?
I think they are not giving the same amount of time to their different drivers. So if we want to win, we might be forced to do the same.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah.
Maybe we will play the game and give every driver 4 hours. We will see.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. You've got that in hand, I assume, in terms of maximum stint time, so you can switch around a little bit with who you're driving at the end. That's great to see. Thank you so much for jumping in, Sam. It's really been a pleasure. And of course, we're doing this for charity. We've already raised £3,000. So because of your great racing as well, and all of your team's kind contributions, it's really helping. So much appreciated. Thanks, Sam.
Hey, no worries. Thank you for the great commentaries. It's amazing to watch.
Thank you. Good luck, and we're rooting for you. But then we say that to everyone who jumps into the box, if I'm honest.
Cool. I want to see you guys holding P2 or taking that top spot.
Yeah.
Keeping Dalkin behind there. That would be fantastic finish.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. Good luck.
Thank you. See you. Cheers.
Okay, so we doing all right. Maybe Multi 97. We can have a quick chat. So that's Jardier. Just checking my.
I'm not sure which of the two teams he's with, but we can ask.
He is with Jardier Racing Blue Team 747.
Okay, I don't think we've spoken to them tonight, so that's cool.
No, we haven't.
Let's go for it. Let's just go on a roll.
Yeah, I'll pick up Aris if we can.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Hey, Multi 97, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine.
You don't sound fine. You sound tired, or are you just chill?
No, I'm just chilling.
Okay, good. How's the race been? You're currently running 35th, but you qualified in 36th. I can't believe that you've been in that position for the whole of the race. How's it gone so far?
Yeah, it was a bit of a roller coaster because we had a horrible start. Actually, our teammate, Emilio Souza, crashed into us on the beginning of the race.
Oh, yes, because you're running a racing blue team and a racing red team, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, team on team impact.
The worst scenario.
Someone's in trouble for that.
Yeah. It was a bit unfortunate. But we managed to climb up to P26. But during the night on that multi-car crash, I was in the car actually, and I was the last one to get hit. Yeah. 1 minute and a half of damage. It was very bad.
Okay.
No.
So how did that happen? We missed that on the stream. We didn't catch that. So how did the accident happen? Were you just caught up in something, or what?
Yeah, the Mercedes that began everything. Just he was letting the cars pass, but he didn't see me. So when I was going through him, he just hit me, and I was off to the wall.
And he was a back marker, so he just didn't see you or pick up on his radar. I guess that happens.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but it's racing,
Yeah, it is
Sometimes
racing.
it happens.
So currently, this is all Portuguese team, right?
Yes.
And who's your fastest driver then? Is it you or is it Danny? Danny DeVito. Or is it Andre Costa? Just reading
Costa.
off a spreadsheet. It's Da Costa, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's currently at the wheel. And what's your feeling? You can make this out of the 30s in the next 3 hours? Do you think that's
I don't
possible?
think so. I'm the one ending, so I don't think so. I don't think I can do it.
So what's the strategy then?
The Lamborghini just died.
Oh, I missed it. Was that on the stream or behind us?
It was not a camel.
Okay.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Definitely no one behind you anymore, so I'll take your word for it. Just a question. We've been picking up on this throughout the race. Who did the paint job on your car?
It was Costa, actually.
Okay. Kudos. That's a really, really great looking design. He's done a fabulous job. So big thumbs up for that. I know it takes quite a lot of work to put these things together. I love the fact that you've got your names on the side there as well.
Yeah, for the first time it's a bit complicated. Once you get used to it, we usually use the same skin every race we do. League, race, everything. We use the same type of skin. We change little things, details just, but like this we have the logo in the top of the car of the race. So we change a little bit.
So you said every race. So how many endurance? What kind of race leagues are you in? And are you a team? All three of you are always a team. Are you close friends and stuff?
Yeah, we're a team, but F1 team actually, F1 2020. It's
Okay.
where we
So
met.
why did you switch to ACC then? What's the deal with jumping to ACC for this race?
We've been doing it's the 6th endurance race we do. It's because F1 doesn't have this. I think driver swap is the best thing you have in this game.
Yeah.
The feeling of having teammates, it's very good in my opinion. It's why I do it.
Yeah, I'm exactly in agreement with you. We race on our own a lot, don't we? In race sims, whatever that is, F1 or any of the other race sims, you spend all your time just being yourself, trying to be as quick as you can. But there's something really different and special when you're in an endurance race with 3 or 4 of your other friends. You're on Discord or Skype for the whole day. And when you're getting tired or stressed, one of your buddies gives you a pep up and says it's okay. And actually, it's one of the most enjoyable parts of it is the way you spend time together, and that's really great. I agree with you completely.
Yeah, and it's very good to make fun of them.
Of course it is. Yeah, especially when you've got all of the data in front of you to compare your fastest laps. So what happened to Team Red? I'm just tracking through here. What car number is racing? Are they ahead of you or behind you?
They're behind us, I think. 45, I don't know exactly.
They're car number 787.
Yes.
They are... Yes, they are behind you. They're in position 44 at the minute. Okay. So yeah, you've got those bragging rights then. At least you're nearly 10 points ahead, 10 places ahead of them already. So thank you very much for dropping in. It was really nice to chat with you. Good luck for the rest of the race. You've only got 2 hours and 50 to go.
Yeah, I will do the 2 hours and a half left. So
yeah, yeah, there you go.
All to play for.
All to play for. Yeah,
Keep
5, at least 5. I expect to see you in the 20-somethings by the end. But the most important thing is finishing, and we've raised so much money for charity as well. So thank you for taking part. Thank you for sticking with it, and keep going. We know there's more in it for you.
Have a good stream.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye bye.
And this whole time we've been talking, James Hartnell's still sat in the pits. Repairing damage. This looks really bad. What a shame. What a shame those team have been running so well the whole race.
I'll tell you, somebody who'll be pleased to hear that is Aris, who's waiting in comms.
Absolutely.
Oh, and we're just watching as Costa just spins it there on Blanchiment. So that's going from bad to worse. So let's check in with Turn 1 team here and see how they're getting on.
Okay. So I'll grab Aris and drop him.
Where's there you go. Team number 100. Currently, Wilhelm Weirich is currently driving. You're looking at Team 100, and we're joined by Aris. Can you hear us, Aris?
Hello, everybody. Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
wonderful to have you here, and welcome. Both myself and Dan watched some of your stream yesterday just to get an eyeball for how your practices were going. Were you hoping to be in P7 or even more than that?
Well, actually, we're P6 right now, so.
Oh yes,
yes, hoping.
you are, because you're just passing James Hartnell, who seems to be stuck in the pits.
Yeah, we had our own share of bad luck during the race, unfortunately. But I have to say, I've heard other people's, also faster people than us, that they also had problems. So for now, P6, it's a pretty great result, to be honest, for us, and hopefully we can, take it home and even improve on that. So yeah.
So you'd qualified. Where did you qualify here?
P10.
P10. Okay, so you're already 4 places up on your original qualifier. You'll be happy with that, aren't you? But you've got Maxi Lentini in front of you, and I think you're actually been tracking a little bit faster than them through this section of the race. So you've got 2 hours 45 minutes to go. What do you think? Do you think you can take a couple of places here before the end?
The pace is good. The car feels nice. We have, I guess, as everybody, problems with the track limits. We are on the limit, so if it's all about if we can stay consistent and don't do any errors. That is what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's so punitive here as well. If you have to do a drive-through, I mean, that's a long time spent cruising down that pit lane. So I'm hoping you'll be able to avoid that. We've had lots and lots of great comments about the racing so far. Obviously, we're very happy because we've already raised £3,000 since we've been streaming this, which has been a wonderful achievement in its own right. We've had a number of our drivers come in and say, "Oh, I'm having a bad race, and I'm having a bad race because of the new update," which I mean, everyone is in the same position, right? No matter who you are on the track, you've had to adjust to some tweaks in some of the models here. It's probably the best person to give us a reflection on that would be you, Aris. What's your view on it so far? How do you find it?
Well, sim racers work a lot on their muscle memory, and obviously, if you change their habits, they need some time to readjust, and possibly they see some slower lap times, but it is the same for everybody. And because of that, they think, okay, I don't like this because I'm not doing my old lap times. But it doesn't matter. It's the same for everybody in the end. So I believe, and I think that the feedback until now in the forums and everywhere in the internet has been unbelievable for the new update. So yeah, I guess once they will have some time to practice and not be into the competitiveness of such an important race, they will enjoy it even more.
Yeah, that's my feeling as well. I'd had the same thing, jumped into one of the new AMGs that you had added in the DLC only a couple of days ago, and I could immediately tell some force feedback difference. And actually, I preferred it because I could feel a lack of traction on the front end, and that was communicated more to me. But it's incredible, isn't it, the way your brain works and how it responds to the feedback that you're getting from your steering wheel. And because everyone's brain is different, sometimes people are expecting certain things to happen. And you mentioned it, muscle memory. Your driver Oskar was on with us earlier, and he mentioned he's put in probably 900 hours on ACC. I mean, he's built up with the most incredible muscle memory using this sim.
Absolutely. I mean, the top class drivers are all massive amount of practice, building, as you said, massive muscle memory about every little detail, because the lap time is all down to the details. I've been talking about muscle memory and how to convince newcomers in sim racing to not continuously change settings on their steering wheels, on their FOV, on whatever they have, because everybody usually, I need to gain time, let's change something. No, you have to stick into whatever you have and keep on practicing. This is how you become faster at the end.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think because I think this is my take on that, is that people who find themselves doing race simming rather than playing on Forza Horizon or some other, kind of more arcadey driving game are probably, and this is me being as nice as possible, they're probably quite nerdy anyway. And I count myself as one of those, somebody who's quite into technology, quite into technical things, quite into cars, the balance, the setup. They are tempted all the time. You've given them so many knobs and buttons to push. within ACC. There's so many different parameters they can play with. They can't help themselves. And you're right. It depends, doesn't it? Maybe you make a setup change and you find a better performance, but that could just be that you were more awake that day.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, the beauty of our hobby is that you can tinker with all the settings all the time. I perfectly understand that. I like it myself. I'm always like, oh, let's see if I can gain. Let's see if I. But on the other hand, you still need to understand. Okay, should I really change something, or is it me and my driving style that doesn't suit whatever I'm doing, or did I practically gain something from this change, or should I come back again to what I had before, and so on.
Yeah, I think that's most people. They're seeking those tweaks all the time. I think one of the things I think is amazing that you're a core part of the team at QNOS, and yet you're so heavily engaged with the community in terms of sharing experience and advice. So many videos that people can go and watch to pick up tips and things. So for us, it's just amazing to have you in the race. And I did want to say that I think ACC is just a stunning piece of work, and we've had all of these drivers come in, saying it. The reason they come here is because it's the best place for them to come for endurance races, community feel, driving with their friends. That must make you feel quite proud.
You make me blush, guys. Thank you so much, and I will gladly, take your comments to the rest of the team, because they are truly, truly doing an incredible job every day behind the scenes. They are really, spitting blood and tears to make this seem as good as possible. And for me, that most and foremost, I'm also a sim racer. I've started as a sim racer. It's a great delight to be able, to play and drive with the community together into this kind of events, especially your kind of event, which is also very important and a great charity event. So thank you so much for inviting us.
That's a good point you make there. You're almost like, I feel like the public face of QNOS because of your community presence. But of course, there's a huge team, working on this. It's not just a one-man band creating this experience. But I love the passion and the level of detail that you guys go to. So what sim did you start off with? What was your first sim?
Depends how back you want to go.
Well, we're getting on a bit.
We're old. We're old. I'm nearly 50.
Old. Let's see.
I'm nearly 50, so I can handle most.
I can speak about Jeff Crammond. So if you go,
I love Jeff Crammond. I love Jeff Crammond. Yeah.
All right, so here I go. Let's see if you know that. So there was a sim, and I didn't even know the term sim back in the days. Around 88, 89, something like that, called TT Racer for ZX Spectrum. And it was a sim of motorbikes. And it was the only sim with an actual clutch, and you could, release the clutch and the motorbike would go, up into one wheel. It was impossible. I couldn't, make
on those rubber keys of a ZX Spectrum.
Exactly. It was impossible to play, but that struck me so much that since then I was always behind, trying to find something that could resemble, reality as better. So after that, I did them all, Revs and Grand Prix and the Grand Prix 2 and Grand Prix Legends, of course, it was a big moment for creating community online with Frog and everything. So yeah.
You've been doing this all your career then?
Yeah, almost all of my life, to be honest.
Wow.
I got my ZX Spectrum when I was 12 years old, and since then I was hooked. I wanted to drive always.
My first PC too, if you can call it that.
You had a ZX Spectrum. Oh well, I'm the bad one.
I felt spoiled. I had all of that memory to play with.
You were spoiled because I had a VIC 20, so you were both spoiled.
See, look, now we're reminiscing,
No, we've just lost the whole community in this discussion.
What are those things?
Yeah, those old guys, what are they talking about? I mean,
exactly.
If we want to take it even backwards, I remember back in the days, obviously, no internet, no bullet points, nothing, okay? So magazines, of course. And I remember I still have it on my mind. There was a guy, because you were sending your questions to the magazine, and they would publish it and possibly give you an answer of how to do stuff. But you had to wait 1 month every time. So there was this poor guy that had that ZX1. Okay, so ZX1, I think. Or
ZX81.
There was a
ZX81. Yeah.
I remember
There
that
was
one.
actually a ZX80 as well, which was
It had 1 kilobyte of memory. 1 kilo.
Yeah.
And so the poor guy wanted to create a sprite and animate it. So sprite was, something like a character today, but you were creating a little person into a sprite, all pixelated with 4 pixels by 4 pixels, something like that.
Yeah.
So the guy was asking, how can I created my sprite, but every time I try to animate it, everything crashes, doesn't work. So how can I do that? And the answer was, son, with 1 kilobyte of memory, either you create the sprite or you animate it. Choose. So yes, we are that old.
You have to make a choice.
And it is quite hard to conceive 1 kilobyte now when, if I open up Microsoft Word, God, I'm getting boring now. If I open up Microsoft Word and I save the document with no content in it, it's still 3 megabytes. I didn't have a computer with 3 megabytes in. But anyway, we're really boring. It's really wonderful to have you on, Aris. Any tips for any of the drivers who are struggling a little bit? We had a couple of chats earlier with some new license holders who are joining this endurance race, and obviously they've reached into a very deep situation because they're new to the sim. So apart from practice, is there any hot tips you'd give any newcomers to ACC?
The best help I think I can give is join a community. Join communities. There are incredible communities, luckily, like yours and all the other ones, and tons of people willing to help every day, every hour of the day. So join the communities, and it's a slow process. You have to be patient, because I'm almost 50, you're almost 50, we're still learning. I'm still learning stuff, and I'm still getting faster. So it's a slow process, except if you're born like an alien, so you don't have issues. But I can guarantee you, even the aliens are always into frustration, because there will always be someone better than you. So enjoy the trip. Don't try to win. Enjoy the race. I mean, I was frustrated during this race, because some of the back markers were a little bit strange. And after a great stint that I had just a couple of minutes ago, I stopped from it. I said, you know what? I'm stupid. I shouldn't be frustrated. This is amazing. I'm having the fun of my life. So enjoy the trip. Don't go for the win. Don't go for the position. Go for the race.
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it? Because I also remember I definitely would have been one of those back markers. There's a lot to take on when you're new to this. Some people may not have even held their own driving license for that many years as well. So experience is built up over a period of time, and racing experience is no different. How you position your car, when you're looking in the mirrors, when you're looking at your own braking points and others. It's you're right. Don't always push for that stupidly fast lap. Just go for it. It is a great journey. I've been thoroughly enjoying it so far. Dan, you had one more question. We'll let you go, Aris.
All right, thank you guys.
Not even a question. I was thinking we should just leave this by going, hey, P4, while we've been talking. It's really happening.
It's happening. It's happening.
It is happening, isn't it? What happened while we were talking then?
Well,
dev hacks, guys. You were talking. I distracted you. In the meantime, I was, putting the dev hacks in the console.
Bless them. They've always got your back. Thank you so much, Aris, and keep coming with all that great content. We love it. I'm learning so much from watching your material, so great to have you on board.
Yeah, we've got a ton of feedback for you, but this is not the right time or place to start giving you a wish list. Oh, can we have this and can we have that? We'll use the right words for that.
Let the guy race, guys.
Exactly.
All right, thank you so much, Aris. Look after yourself.
Than't you, guys. Thank you for inviting us, and great job with the race. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great, isn't it? It's not very often you get the chance to speak to one of the developers of the software that you're using and have been for the last 10 hours already. And you know what? While we were chatting, I noticed that's really interesting line that Wilhelm takes at the bottom of the climb there. Do you see that? is absolutely, right on the very edge of track limits on the left-hand side before he takes the right into Eau Rouge. And I've not seen that in any of the drivers. I think I might just stay on board for a little while and jump behind the steering wheel to see that line, because I might have learned something in the last couple of minutes aside from having a chat with Aris, which was great.
So from positive news to quite sad news from my point of view, we've lost the Lamborghini team. They were sat it's all through those interviews, and they finally disconnected. So I think they basically had some terminal issue. That's such a shame, because they were in the running, let's face it.
Oh, that's a disaster. They were absolutely top 3 material for the whole race. So if you're still listening, or you're consoling yourself after that technical issue, from Dan and I and all the guys in RWB to that team, we were so much enjoying you putting that Lamborghini right up in everyone else's face. So sad that you're not here to finish this off, but yeah, thanks for your support all along.
And you may be feeling incredibly frustrated, but if you do want to drop into the commentary booth and just talk about the experience of your race up until that point and just shed some light on what happened, you are more than welcome. But understand if you don't want to do that. So that's BD Racing. Really sorry to see you go.
Yeah, Chris Crossman, Archie Clifford and James Hartnell, who were definitely running in contention today, our pro racing team at the front end. Pointy end of the track, sorry to see you gone. So we're on board with Wilhelm. We've continued this little piece here as he's tracking into a back marker packet here. Greedy me, I just saw a donation then. I missed the number that flashed off the screen too quick for me. I just missed another 50 as well. Jeez, you can't pay attention to everything. There you go. Greedy me and Dark Juliet. Thank you so much. $50. That's awesome. What a great donation. And on that point, let me just hit my...
I was just going to read through some. I think you're on exactly the same lines as me right now.
Okay, here we go. I'm just going to pump a little extra in there. I want to keep this going.
Okay, I was going to read through some that we missed. So thank you to Isaac, Tracy, Kim Johansson, Max Maliar, Danielle Mack, No Breaks Blake, and Damien Wilk, and Racer Soul. I think that takes us back to when we'd first started talking. So thank you all for the donations while we've been doing those interviews. We now sat at £3,068. So the stream hasn't quite caught up with that, but wow. So we're now over the £3,000 mark, and we're still getting donations dropping in. It's just amazing.
That's nuts, isn't it? I mean, it's just so great. It's such an important cause. Just to remind anyone who's late onto this, we're doing this race. We're doing it for a charity. We're doing it for the charity Mind. Mind are a charity that are UK and Wales or England and Wales based charity, but they offer services and support services. They've got phone lines. They've got all kinds of extra support to help people to be able to deal with any difficult periods they're having in their lives and mental health issues. It's probably more important now than it ever has been, with people in lockdown all around the world and lots of people being bereaved of their loved ones through this really weird year that we're all living through. So give as generously as you can. Mind are there to help everyone to raise awareness about mental health issues and to provide a support network for anybody who's having a bit of a difficult time of it. It's very much worth it. RWB lost a club member, TK421, earlier this year, and we're all very saddened by that. This race is to honour him and to raise awareness and raise money for charity. So for all of you who've contributed, for everyone who's put money forward, for everyone who's been organising it, and everyone who's raced, really appreciate your beautiful beautiful gesture and donating. So thank you very much. We're at £3,067 and counting, because we have 2 hours and 27 minutes left.
Yeah, we're in the final stretch. Imagine though, joining a race which is quite often a lot of races run. They say 2.5 hour endurance race. That's basically what we've still got left to go right now. 2.5 hours racing.
Yeah, you wouldn't fancy it, would you? Especially not after having done 10 hours. So let's just do a quick go up the track here, just to make sure that everybody who has been putting in hard work for the last 10 hours gets appreciated for it. In 43rd position is Quest, currently running in 787. In 42nd position is Grant Swenson in car number 95. In car number 9 is Ronnie Cray. In 41st position, we've got Herbie in 40th in car number 69. Tiger currently running in 39th position in car number 427. And RWB Roberts running in 38th position, car number 3. We've got Jack Mason in car number 765 in the 37th position. Suraj Ragathaman is in 36th in car number 238. We've got Felix Fritsch in car number 763 in 35th position. In 34th is Ruben Simonite, currently in car 888. Looks like he is
serving a drive-through right now, I think.
Oh, okay.
Probably track limits.
Yeah, okay. Alan Gooch driving in car number 420 in 33rd place. Andre Costa, 32nd place in car number 747. Elgard, we've spoken to this team a couple of times. They're really having a tough race of it in 31st position in car number 34. We've got Mohamed Karolia in 30th position in car number 99. RWB Pinpoint in 29th position, number 473. Verlance in 28th position, car number 7, with Gabsy just up the road in car number 421. That takes us to 27th position. All of these drivers, I'm only at 13 or so back from the top here. Still got 26 drivers to go. All of these drivers been driving for nearly 10 hours already in their teams, so kudos. 26th position, car number 97, is Ian Mackey. He joined us earlier. We've got Alex Bowditch in 25th position, car number 193. Zach Etier in car number 88, driving that challenging Audi that we talked about earlier. In 24th position, just behind Nate Newcomer in the Beamer in car number 309. We've got Alex Hode in car number 75. He's in 22nd position. In 21st position, Dean Lee Banks in car number 190. Thiago Faria is in 20th position, car number 68. And Jody Barraclough driving in car number 67. We have not mentioned that stunning livery just yet, but it could definitely be top 3 for me. Absolutely gorgeous. In 19th position, we've got RWB Olwen. Oh yeah, that's also very nice, isn't it? Okay, in 18th position, and in 17th we've got Fabian in car number 112. Oh, that's another good one, isn't it? Carlos Gujaro is in car number 333 in 16th. James Hartnell is out. That's on my scoreboard as James Hartnell. That's sad again. Car number 909 in 15th position is Matthew Marlowe. We've got Voodoo Child in 14th, car number 80. Crawford Brown in 13th position, car number 141. We've spotted that a couple of times. They look like they're having a solid race. Hugo Gomez in car number 666 is 12th, with Petter Peck in 11th in car number 991. Have not really spotted that whole race, actually, which is our bad. That's a great looking car, and they're currently running in 11th. We probably need to dig
under the radar, haven't they?
Dig into their data, because I've just seen their best is a 2:19.8. So this is a team I think we need to do a quick spotlight on in a minute. Ivan Shermantinsky is in car number 808 in 10th position. So now we're into the top 10 drivers, and big thank you to Callum Morgan, who just donated £30. Thank you so much. Really, really, really appreciate it. In 9th place, we've got Henry Wardell in car number 8. And we've got Jardier, who's currently driving in car number 39 in 8th position, with Nicolas Bousselet just up the road in the top position Nissan, I believe. Yep.
I don't think we've seen that car either. I think I would have remembered that livery.
Also,
I like that too.
You're right. Write it on the list. We haven't. That's ridiculous, isn't it? We've only been doing it for 10 hours.
We've got hours left to go, so I haven't actually started a list. I'm sorry. So you might have to go back through the cars at some point.
Yeah, nobody's going to watch a 12-hour stream back anyway, Dan. So I might, just to check what we're like. But anyway, so in number 6th position is car number 222. That's Finn Esch. In 5th position, now we're getting into the stratifying areas. This is Cody Pride in car number 29, and Wilhelm Weirich in car number 100. Ahead of him in car number 4. That's turn 1 team. We've got TFZ Arnold, who is currently in the Dalkin Community car in 3rd position. And we've got Olivier Curtin in 2nd position. with our current track leader being car number 150, driven at the moment by Jeroen Reutling. So that's our top 43 drivers as it stands. And I think at that point, I need to use the toilet.
So they've got a lot going on. We've got 2 drivers who've been patiently waiting for some time to come in, and I've got a ton of YouTube comments to catch up on. But I'll wait until you come back because there's some good stuff there.
Would that be all right? While I do that, I'm going to also get my beer as well because it's 10:30, and yeah, I'm kind of desperate for it. So give me 3 minutes, and I'll be back.
Let's take a 3-minute break because I need to do both those things too. Only
right,
in my own bathroom, I'd like to point out. Anyway, we're back in a mo.
Bye. Right. I'm going to see whether Scrimpy Data would like to have a chat. So I'm going
we're going to pull Caitlin in first.
Are we? You're the boss.
Drop in and check to see who was in first. So
You're the boss.
We're going to pull Caitlin into the commentary booth.
Okay. Hi, Caitlin. How you doing? Caitlin.
Sorry, yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay, thanks. Thanks for bringing me in. Yeah.
How's the race been?
This is my very first race on a Cyclocross competition, so I was a little nervous coming into it, but it's actually been going a lot better than I thought.
So tell us a little bit. What team are you running in at the minute?
So I'm in the number 76 story.
You're in 760.
GT Hub car running 34.
And how's it been so far?
It's been up and down. We, as a team, we're a bit below our target, partly due to there's a strange glitch in the one of the first pit stops where it thought that our driver was driving the car, but they didn't have control of it, and we all had to rejoin.
Ouch.
Yep.
And how long did it take to work that out? How much did you lose in that situation?
I think we lost something like 5 or so laps. Well, that's not what my teammates said anyway, but they were a bit of exaggerating things. It was at least 3 laps, I'd say. But I don't know for sure because I was elsewhere at the time. But my stints came after that, and I was really worried yesterday because, as I said, this is my first race in Aesthetic Cruise Competizione. I only got it kind of earlier this week. Previously, I've been doing
earlier this week.
So
earlier
you
this week.
did I hear that right? So you've only had the game, and you've gone, oh yeah, I'll do a 12-hour endurance race.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nuts.
A bunch of my friends from GT Hub are in the car, and they were like, you should come and do this with us. And I was like, okay. I mean, I've only had this game like 4 days, but okay.
So what's your estimate of how many hours you've put in at the moment in terms of the car?
Well, so after those 2 stints, so that was like an hour each. I think I probably did maybe 3 hours of practice, so I probably only done about like 5 hours on the sim, if that.
All right, so now I need, what kind of lap times are you putting in with 6 hours worth of practice? Don't embarrass me by telling me that you're really quick.
Well, that's what I was saying. So yesterday I was really worried because I was doing like 225s, 226s, and my teammates were about like 4 or 5 seconds quicker, and I was thinking to myself, oh no, I'm going to embarrass myself. But today I actually really surprised myself with I'm not going to say I was like an alien or something, but I was consistently in the 23s and 24s, and that is. I know it's not great, but it's a lot quicker than I was expecting.
I think it's very respectable.
I do, given the hours you've had.
Thank you very much.
And you're in an amateur team. I think that's on pace for an AM team. So I missed, by the way, what your normal sim of choice is.
So I normally do RFX 2 and a little bit of iRacing, although I haven't done any like proper professional iRacing or whatever. And I think I did like 1 race in the original Assetto course. I have Assetto course, but I mainly use that for commentary because I'm a commentator for like various club events.
Nice. You could have told us that 11 hours ago, and you could have carried some of the load. Right now, I've written your name down now. That's it.
That's it.
I mean, if you want to call me up for next time, I'll be completely up for it. But
okay.
Yeah.
Noted. And by the way, while we're on, Phil Varley, thank you so much. That's £40 just donated. We're now at £3,240, which is outstanding. Thanks, Phil. Wonderful.
As you're just mentioning that, Si, I have to mention Flying Dutchman Motorsport with a £92.37 donation. We need to go top that team up because this is mad. And they said, why, people? Why? Because you guys are crazy generous. That's why. And that's not belittling any of the other donations we've had. But you guys are nuts. Sorry.
Yeah. So, noted. We have a new volunteer commentator. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
So having done 3 hours practice and then probably 3 hours race today, what's the verdict? So, because only just before you were online, I don't know whether you heard any of the stream, but we had Aris on, and Aris is one of the key developers and kind of community leaders and social media content creators for ACC. He's one of the development team. He's a physicist inside the team. So we've gone from somebody who's spent their whole life developing and generating sim software for people like me and you to somebody who's only spent 6 hours behind the wheel. I asked him, what tips would you give to somebody who's new to ACC and is trying to get onto it? And he said, just relax. It's a journey. You'll get quicker and quicker. That was pretty much what he answered. What's your feeling as a complete newbie, if you like, to ACC, having now just about to finish your first 12-hour endurance race?
if Aris is listening, I'd like to say you've done an amazing job, and everyone who works on this this project as well, because I've been very pleasantly surprised by ACC. I think that it's very immersive, much more immersive than some of the other sims that I've tested. And yeah, the cars just feel really smooth and easy to pick up, and I like the way that it's like a real GT3 in the way that anyone can drive it, but it takes a lot more to be to be properly quick. So you can get in and you can be consistent, and you can you can do what I just did, or you could be my teammate flipping Schaefer or whatever and set 218s. And, and it really caters to people of all skill levels, and you'll always find other people of your skill level to race against. So
yeah,
I was just saying actually about Sarah, you were saying don't panic. I was just saying that to my teammates, how it's quite common to make like little mistakes every other lap or so, and maybe lose a tenth of a second or so, and if you go no or whatever, like if you overreact to it, you're going to end up making another mistake at the next corner, and then getting losing all of that momentum. Sometimes it's okay to be like, oh, little twitch, okay, carry on. Lost about a tenth of a second, no big deal, it's a 12-hour race.
So, and that's funny. The point you make is really interesting as well, because it is a lot of psychology. You're going to be an hour and 5 minutes or so behind the wheel, and I think a lot of racing, in real life racing, is how you control your mind when you're under pressure, how you control your mind when you've made a mistake and you think you've lost your rhythm. You only had one mistake, you think you've lost your rhythm. You tell yourself you've lost your rhythm. One of my favorite ones, I still do it all the time, I can't help it. If I'm following somebody close and they go wide, I go wide as well. It's just like I mimic the car in front of me, and it's just one of those traps you get into. And there's so much that's about the sim, I think, which is a reflection of the reality of driving on the racetrack. But I think you're right. This game comes to you the more you race in it. You're right. The cars are quite accessible. You can put in reasonable times quite quickly. You can build kind of a basis for being consistent, but there's something more you have to do in order to get those extra times. So what's the current team look like then? Who's the fast guy of the team, and who's keeping us in the 33rd position, as it were?
Well, so I think our first lap so far has been set by Tom Kersen, Pigeon as we call him, and that was like right near the start of the race.
Yeah, 2:21.105. I've got you down as.
Yep, that's the one. Felix is behind the wheel as well. He's close to those times. Rod and me have less experience. Rod, he has a bit more experience with ACC, although he was actually called up to this race, I think, like yesterday or something. So that was.
Yeah, I think that was this morning, because Elizabeth's internet dropped out. Right, you had Elizabeth who was going to be on the team.
It was Liz who actually called me up to this team as well. She's a close friend.
Oh, okay. I feel so sorry for her after all of that prep, for that to happen just as the race is about to get underway, and you just can't imagine how gutting that must be. And yeah, so our hearts go out to her, because there's nothing you can do about it, right? You're at the internet gods'
She is gutted,
whim.
and it's a big shame, because one of the main reasons I did this race was because she was saying, we've got to race together sometime. We've got to race together, and of course she doesn't do R-Factor 2, and that's where I frequent. And she actually bought me a set of Corsa Competizione as a gift. And she was like, right, now we can race together, woo! And so of course we were both really excited for it, and then it just didn't end up happening. But
what a nightmare.
There's always next time, and it's okay.
Well, there will be a next time. We're all really feeling for her when you put a lot of practice in and you get excited about the event, and it's such a great event, raising money for Mind as well. You want to be part of it, so I can imagine she was absolutely beside herself when that message came in from our ISP. So, but you seem to be doing her proud. Is there a strategy? We're 2 hours to go to the end of the race. You're currently in 32nd position. Have you got another stint to go yet, Caitlin?
I'm done for the day. Because it was my first race, we thought it was probably wise to give me 2 stints rather than 3. The other guys are doing 3 each. So Felix is finishing now, and then it's going to be Rod followed by Pigeon, who's going to be finishing the race. But yeah, that's the strategy. Just kind of run and don't crash. I would like to say quickly, actually, thank you for supporting Mind. It's a very good cause. I don't think I've ever worked with Mind, but I have had experiences with mental health and mental health charities, so I know how important things like that are. And I support the cause.
Good. Thank you very much for that. And it is important that we're raising awareness for it. Mental health issues are something that is not to be hidden, it's to be discussed. And there is a big network of people inside the Mind charity who are out there helping people on a day-to-day basis. We're very proud as a club to be part of that. And we're so proud. Look at that, £3,240 raised since this race started. Everyone should be really proud of that, and that includes everyone who's racing and everyone who's donated. So it's actually big thanks to you, Caitlin, and people like you who've made this happen.
I'd also like to apologise quickly before we end this interview. I should probably go soon because I know that my friend Scrimpy is waiting for an interview. But anyway,
I've just messaged him.
Jolly good. I'd like to apologise quickly to actually the car number 150. I think they're still leading the race. They were at the time anyway. I'm not sure if you caught it on the stream. Overnight we made a bit of contact and they ended up going for a spin. I think that was my fault, and I'm surprised we didn't get a penalty for that actually. But yeah, it may have been a little bit of like netcode or something like that. Like I thought that we were clear, but I think like the hitbox of the car was slightly wider than the diffuser or the rear wing or whatever. So I ended up tagging them. They went for a spin. They get the lead. And they were actually really good sports about it. I got my teammate to apologise on my behalf while I was still behind the wheel, and they said, it's fine, we're not going to report it because like we thought we were clear too and we weren't. Yeah. So great sportsmanship from
and very gentlemanly of you as well to acknowledge that situation. We obviously have the stewards looking at these things, and if the other team had complained or had any major issues, the stewards would have had to have looked at the issue themselves. So it's
and these things happen, right? And let's be honest, they are currently some 65 plus seconds in the lead, so it hasn't hurt them too much.
And CSAM just jumped on the chat, so it was 50-50. So God, there's just a big love in here. Thank you. Thank you so much for jumping on, Caitlin, and we'll have a quick chat with Scrimpy Data as well. So good luck with the rest of the race. Hope you make it beyond 30 seconds. You've got 2 hours to do it.
Are you going to stay in to watch the rest of it?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, we're looking for a top 30 anyway, so that's looking possible but difficult. Anyway, thank you very much.
Fingers crossed.
Pleasure. Good luck. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, little check, see if there's any major changes. We've got Ainor Rose back in the lead car, so this is great to see. I'll just quickly clip over, see where she is in terms of the track position.
I'm just going to read a couple of the donation messages out. So when we had Phil Varley with his £40 donation, he said the charity and its purpose really resonates with so many of us. Great work, guys and girls, and thanks to RWB for letting me in. You make 2020 somewhat bearable. Regards from your race steward. Like a little wink at the end there.
Nice.
That's a thankless task, working in the race stewards team. I wouldn't want to be in that position, but they take it very seriously and they spend a lot of time looking at those incidents. So, Callum said thanks to RWB for the event. Great to support this cause. Callum Morgan, Car 58, United Colours of RWB.
Nice messages. We are 2 hours to go. Can you believe? Actually felt like it's gone quicker than that, and I'm not even driving a car. We've got Scrimpy Data waiting to jump in. We're happy to have him at any time. While we're doing that, just a quick track back here. Currently at £3,240, and we're way over track. We actually raised £1,000 in this charity race within the first lap of the race, which was great, and what a great way to start off. We've had, I think we probably reached the 2,000 mark probably about the 6th or 7th hour, and now we're over 3,000. I honestly thought we would top out at 3, so let's just keep going. There's no ceiling here. Let's just keep finding the odd fiver here and there. Everything helps. There's nothing mandatory. If you've already donated, you're amazing and you're the best. Let's just keep pumping money in here. Mind is a great cause. The racing's been fabulous. We have, I think, on the server right now, 43 drivers still tracking around here from 50 who started the race, some technical issues. Sad to lose James Hartnell and the team who were running very high up at that point in time, doing a great job. But we're watching Iron Ore Rose, who has Callum Morgan behind, and Mike Williams behind them in the Dalkin community car. So we need to check that actually just to see what that gap is. Just making sure. No, that's Team 2 coming over the top of Eau Rouge, and this is Mike Williams, who is just making it into. Where are we here? Okay, so quite a way different actually between the twos.
Quite a gap there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's, the data's a little bit muddled at the moment, but I think they're about a minute and a half behind.
Wilhelm Weirich in 4th and Cody Pride in 5th. Now I'm just checking here. It was Nate Newcomer's team, wasn't it? And I think they've been struggling. That was car 34, the Beamer. I'm tracking.
Oh, with Elgard.
Yeah. Where are they currently? I was kind of hoping they'd get in the top 10, but they're really struggling. That's a shame.
Down in P31 or somewhere.
Having a pit.
Actually, with a drive-through, serving a drive-through.
Actually doing a drive-through. Okay, so that's a shame. Sad for them. Top 10 is going pretty well here. We've got Valentin Barrier in Jardier's car, the Jardier community car. Yas Heat. They were running in contention for the first hour or two, and then they had some issues, and it's been, they've been pacing with the top 10 group, but it's mostly been a recovery race for that team. And Hugo Gomez rounds out our top 10, and that puts us in the top 10. We have 3 Ferraris, we have 2 McLarens, 3 Aston Martins, a Nissan. So we have no BMWs and the Lexus. Yeah, good shout. No BMWs, no Audis, no Mercs, and no Bentleys at all.
And no rain.
And no Porsche. Yeah, good point.
I wanted to throw that out there, no rain, because I'd quite like to see some rain. And there's probably a whole bunch of teams listening now going, no, we've got our heads down. We've got the hang of this now. Don't go throw some rain out. But wouldn't that spice things up a bit now? It's not like we need the spice, but
Yep, I agree. It's track temperatures coming up. So when we started the race, midday in game, it was 36 degrees on the track, and then slowly but surely as we went through the night, it dropped down to around about 18. I think it was half the track temperature. Some teams' performances and setups really lend themselves to that cooler temperature on track, but now we're on the rise, so we're back up to 23. We'll probably end up in the mid-30s by midday in game, which is currently 8:09 a.m. in game. In real life, it's coming up to 11:15 in GMT, so some of the drivers here will be already into the midnight or beyond, because we've got people from driving all across Europe, and it's been just absolutely fantastic to watch this racing as it's unfolded. Thank you very much, Alan Bird, for donating £20. It's great of you to do so, and you didn't need to, but thank you very much.
So I was just trying to catch up on YouTube comments a bit. There's been a ton of stuff going on there. I'm going right back to the Aris interview. This great. It kicked off this whole conversation in YouTube. My favourite comment in there was BGB British saying, "Loving the old boys chinwagging." We were going down memory lane there, showing our age, and then it kicked off a whole thing about Spectrum, Commodore 64 for the win. 10 print hello world, 20 go to 10.
You're still losing everyone. You're still losing everyone.
No, not everyone.
Not everyone.
I'm appealing to a small niche of the old team here.
Yep. Hello world, go to 10. Never forget that.
Lots of people talking about their first PCs and how they learnt programming on things like spectrums and stuff. So I thought that was really cool that kicked off. Grey Bob said, nobody's noticed our liveries based on the old Minardi yet. So I need to go have a look at that.
Okay, Grey Bob's waiting in comms with Scrimpy as well. So actually, Scrimpy's been waiting a while. We need to bring Scrimpy.
Yeah, we should do that. So we can ask Grey Bob about that when he comes in.
Yeah. Okay.
Should we grab Scrimpy now?
Yeah, let's do that. Scrimpy, thank you for waiting. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. My stint hasn't started yet.
Okay, when does it start? Do we need to move quick?
Probably start within the next 15 minutes, so it should be.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. You need to get yourself in the right zone. Don't you need to sit by the side of your rig and concentrate like a proper racer does?
Well, I got my steering wheel right in front of me, and as of course I'm behind it, so it's fine.
Okay, good. How's the race been going so far?
It's been a roller coaster, because we're back in the top 10 all of a sudden.
Yeah, noted. Currently watching car number 666. That's you. You're GT Hubbed EU Racing.
Yes.
Running in the AMG. You've got quite a few different nationalities in the team, which is great. How did you get on? You started in 22nd position. Now currently running in 9th. I mean, this is just great, isn't it?
Yeah, it is amazing, because we've had the wheel disconnection earlier when I was here, and then we dropped down to P30, and now we're back in the top 10.
Yeah. How did that happen? Please tell me you know the answer.
The only answer I can give you is that my teammates are super damn fast.
Yeah, that certainly helps. You're a pro-am team, so who's the pros and who's the ams?
Well, we have been a pro-am team because we've had 4 drivers, and our 4th driver was a little bit slower than us, but we're all 3 kind of on a similar pace, so we've been all 3 like about between the pros and the ams, actually, because I've been in my own space a lot during my stints.
Yeah, you're actually tagging right on the back of Barrier here, so just go to on-car camera. That is for position in front of you, am I right? It's one of the things we can't see in this. Okay, so that's actually been one of the challenges for us in the commentation team here, is it's impossible. I need to check that back. The exits. Okay, good. Paying attention. Is that we can't see who's racing for position and who's not, because we can't show at the moment the kind of relative map which you see in car on your MFD. So this is for position, and the blue flag's being waved for the car in front of that, I think. So
the blue flags have been all over the place.
Yeah, I bet they have. I mean, with 50 cars on track, you must have been seeing blue flags after only about 10 laps or so, because we had quite a lot of people off and in the pits very early on in the race.
Yeah, they've been very much a constant in the stints. But yeah, most people are managing them perfectly fine, so we can get past if needed, and otherwise, yeah, sometimes they kind of stay in the way, but it's part of racing, I guess.
Yeah, for me, it looks like your good friend Potato here is putting Barrier under pressure. He's gone offline a couple of times, and I can see quite a lot of.
I think Barrier's a bit further ahead than we are right now.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
I think this is an Aston in front of us.
Yeah, you're quite right. It's impossible for me to tell you. I thought that was Barrier's car. So what's the plan? You're in 9th. We're 1 hour 53 left. Have you got another stint to go, or are you done?
Yes, I'm going in like the next 10 minutes. I think.
Yeah, you mentioned. Yeah, okay.
I've already been tagged in Discord, so.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I got 14 minutes, so it's fine.
Okay.
I can log in really fast.
My brain is rotting after 12 hours of this. Keeping it up.
I can imagine. It's been intense.
Were you in the car just before Hugo in the previous stint?
Yes, I was.
So I'm just looking back through the times there. I mean, you were on it. Let's face it. You were doing 220s, 221s, the odd 219, and Hugo's doing the same. So, I mean, you guys are banging the laps out right now.
Yeah, I've been lucky in my stint that I've had some clear air, and now Potato is kind of on pace with the people around him, so he's doing pretty well. Yeah,
is the car coming to you?
Perfectly fine.
With the track temperature, do you think the car's coming to you?
We've had a few issues with high pressures on the tires, but apart from that, this car is set up perfect for this.
Yeah, well, you're doing really well. What's the best case scenario?
Best case scenario is maybe gain a few positions, get close to that top 5 if we can, but I doubt that's happening.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. There are a couple of changes to go, and we've had some people having to drop out for connections. Obviously, we noted earlier that we lost the only Lamborghini in the race due to obviously some kind of connection issues.
I wondered where they were.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. We've also had a couple of people who've not been able to even start the race because one lady, Elizabeth, was supposed to be joining us, and her ISP wrote to her to say that they've lost connection to the internet and it'll be back on in 3 days. So
we've been scrambling for Rod back this morning for that.
Oh, really? Okay. It's so stressful.
Yeah,
you get so excited about coming into the race, and then something stupid like that can stop you from actually making it through. And while we're on, thank you, Kath Bird. Thank you so much for the £20 donation. That's so kind of you. Currently at 3,260. That'll make us 3,280, which is an amazing thing. So thank you.
We'll have some dicey moments going through back markers there.
Oh, yeah.
You find yourself sort of holding your breath when you're watching your teammates.
Yeah, I've done a few questionable moves as well, but
you've not had any complaints against you, I hope, racing fairly.
No, they have been clean, so that's good. That's a good thing. I think at one point I was passing a BMW like slightly off the track on the Camel King there, and then we went 3 wide with a back marker, so that was pretty intense.
Yeah, I bet it was. But those first 2 laps, I mean, if when obviously we ran a couple of practice races, when you watch the cars going through those first few corners with 50 cars around them, you have to be eyes on stalks, because you're just surrounded. There was at least 4 wide up the Camel Straight at one place.
Oh yeah, for
it's
sure.
Just your heart rate must be going. This is good exercise, I think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was supposed to do the first stint. I've done it on like the first start of the race, but then the server happened. But then we switched with Schaefer, and then I was a lot more calm. Then I didn't have to do that first stint.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? I think everyone settled into their rhythm the second time round. It's almost like that was a dress rehearsal. We've had 3 laps, and then we start the server again, and then everyone goes, "Oh, that's what it's like." Okay,
yeah,
and that helps. I think some people really settled, but we did have 1 or 2 people jump into the commentators booth here and say, "Do you know what? I was really feeling good, and then I lost my rhythm on the second start because for whatever it just broke my concentration."
Yeah, we've had a total opposite actually, because on the first start I actually forgot to put on the correct setup of the car. And then we got lucky that the server restarted and managed to put on the right setup.
Wow, that was the roll of a dice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You would have had to run the whole first stint on the wrong setup.
Wow.
I was on the starting grid like, guys, we have 62 liters of fuel. I don't think this is right.
Nowhere near like right.
Indeed.
I'm trying to check. We'll have to have a little look at the numbers here. You're currently running on my screen in 9th position. And you started in 22nd, which puts you 13 places up on your start position. I think you've got to be one of the high climbers in this race so far, having made it into 9th position.
I think we are, and I'm very happy with where we are now. But
yeah,
keep pushing. You're just over a minute behind Valentine in Jardier's car there.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going for going to try and get back into the 19s in my stint.
Yep, go for it. We'll track you. You need to catch Jardier because that's one of the things you can take home, right? If you can pass Jardier.
Yeah, both Jardier and Aris were our targets.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's targets. They must feel that every time they do any other community races, everyone's after them, right? But anyway, we'll drive safely. Hope you have a good rest of the race. Thank you so much for jumping in.
One last question before you go. I know you're going to jump in your stint, but you mentioned we had problems running. Okay, we're running high tyre pressures. What were you running? What were you running at?
My record during the night stint was 28.7 on the right front. So.
In the night.
Wow.
In the night.
Okay. Wow, you were burning them up.
Yeah, because Schaefer was low on pressure, so he put them up. So he overcompensated a bit on the setup, and then I ran high pressures.
So you're picking up quite a bit of understeer off the back of that then.
Yeah, it actually felt fine because the car is naturally a bit oversteered on our setup, so it compensated it a bit.
Okay, so the good news is you managed to balance the car out by making red hot tyres on the front.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, okay, have a great race. Thanks for jumping in, and
thank you guys
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, I noticed that Grey Bob's been patiently waiting as well. It'd be nice to talk to Grey Bob, because Grey Bob's running in the Minardi car, remember?
Yes, with Minardi livery.
Minardi livery. Let's just check that.
So I'll grab him while you're switching cars there.
Yeah, okay. Grey Bob, can you hear us?
Hello, chaps.
Hello.
How are you doing?
That's better than earlier.
Better than earlier, right. So take us through the story. How did you manage to progress then?
By having people that were faster than me drive the car.
Hooray! That's called good recruitment, isn't it?
Through the night was very good. I think I did a stint through the night and was just on the pace, which was okay. Sort of 23s-ish, so acceptable. And then as the sun came up, Dean jumped in the car and was lapping at the same pace as the leaders. So
nice.
And now Simon's back in the car and is doing. I don't know what sort of lap times he's doing because I've jumped away, but he's doing very well.
Yeah.
Let me check that for you.
Oh, how organised! Well done.
Yeah, we got the screens coming out the wazoo here. So you qualified in 18th, and we said this before. You dropped quite a low way down, if I remember right. It's difficult for me to keep track of all the stories here.
Oh yeah. No, we were P49 at one.
Wow. Okay, that is low. And well, back in 21. So, would you be happy to finish underneath your quali position, or is really 18th the minimum?
I think if we can get 18, we'll be happy. We've only got the way we've sort of eked the stints out. We've ended up with one more stop after this. Like Simon's just jumped in. We've only got one more stop to do.
Gotcha.
So we should be able to make it all the way to the end with just one more stop. So hopefully there's people in front of us that are going to need to take longer. We could make a couple of places there.
And if you've got another stint to drive yourself?
Possibly. I think probably will. Peter will jump in and do the last one. Okay. He's a bit faster than me, and at this point we're at the sharp end now.
Yeah,
noted. Now, yeah.
Strategy is what you'd call a floating thing right now. Okay, so I guess you pick the driver that suits the rest of the attack for the rest of this race.
Yeah, pretty much. We rejigged all the stints when it became clear that we could do 27 laps. Simon and Dean could do 27, but Peter and I were only doing 26, so we rejigged it around and brought Simon back in for another one to get us over that end of the race, sort of mean that we could get one less stop.
So you started off with a plan. Did you have like a mapped out scheme for who was going to do what stints? You do an hour, I'll do 2 stints.
Yeah.
And then you've just throw that up in the air at this point in the race, or it set you off? It got you in this position in the first place, so now you have to adapt.
Yeah, and we have the magic Google spreadsheet that updates itself.
Who hasn't got a magic Google spreadsheet? I mean, if there was a license, there must be 50 Google spreadsheets here, maybe even 100 Google spreadsheets across these teams. Everyone with their own stint time tracker. I mean, there's a business opportunity, isn't there? For somebody to make an app for us all to share.
Oh, now you're talking.
Monetize that, yes.
Yeah, let's make an app. So how's the McLaren then? So we've seen a few McLarens. They seem to be performing pretty well. I'm surprised we haven't seen really much more of the BMWs or the Audis or even the Porsches, actually. I mean, the Porsche's not for the long straights, of course, but how are you finding that McLaren?
The McLaren's great through the corners. It's very, if you can get the setup right, it's quite pointy, so you can get it to go really, really quickly through the corners. It's not quite so strong on the straights. So you end up, if you can't get past someone at a decent place, you end up just sat behind them for quite a while. But it's a smooth car to drive once you get in the zone. Yeah. It's very, very sort of linear, and you can be very consistent with it.
So how, when you have 4 drivers in the team, how do you negotiate setups? So how do you argue/debate where the setup position should be to accommodate all of your driving styles?
The way we did it for this one is we just tried to get something that was neutral and that the slowest person, i.e. me, could drive without having it be too much of a problem, because probably there might be another half a second in it if they weren't having to kind of bias a little towards understeer to make sure that I can keep it on the road. I struggle a lot of the sim racing or endurance racing that I've done. We use a Corvette in our Factor 2, mainly just because it looks cool.
And sounds great.
Yeah, and it sounds cool. So it hasn't really been for anything else. But I've now learned to drive in kind of a sort of a lift-offy sort of manner. And if you try and make a mid-engine car rotate through a corner by lifting off, it will quite quickly turn around on you, and then you have a lot of angry teammates yelling at you.
Oh, you've really helped me with something, Grey Bob. That's my tendency as well, is lift off. I tend to I don't tend to brake as hard. I tend to come off pace and then battle it through the mid corner. And I've really struggled with mid-engine cars because I don't really understand when to apply the gas. I'm learning, application of throttle earlier in the corner is what these cars want, but it doesn't feel natural to me as a normal kind of front engine driver. So that's a good tip. I didn't realize that was the behavioral style. Okay.
Yeah, they're very the McLaren in particular, or at least in the setup that we're running it, is incredibly sensitive to how you use the brakes as well. If you come off the brakes really quickly and you shift weight forwards, that's it just goes round. So I've had to completely change how I brake for this race. I've had to blend out of the brakes rather than just lifting straight off and dealing with it.
Wow, that must be really hard, because we talked about muscle memory in some earlier interviews, but I've struggled with some of those cars. I love the Porsche. I just love the car. I love the way it looks. I like the way it drives, but I find it hard to be consistent with it. And I started to train myself, rather than lifting off completely, which is what I would normally do, is just lifting off to about halfway, and it just keeps the car balanced. But it's very hard for me to tell my brain to do that from years of doing it differently. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I can't drive Porsches.
Great answer. Can't do it.
Yeah, whenever we've tried, I just can't deal with the way the weight balance works on them. It just doesn't compute in my brain. But yeah, it was just basically from in ACC. If you're sat and you're watching one of the other guys driving, you can watch their inputs on the little rev counter. You can see their throttle and brake inputs, and I noticed that guys were trailing the brake in and lifting off, and I was snapping the brake off, and I was the only one that was struggling with this, like just at the apex of the corner, the car just rotating and me not really knowing what to do. It also that it's kind of counterintuitive that if you do start to slide, you have to keep a little bit of throttle in. If you completely lift off, she'll just go round. You've got to try and gather it up with the throttle pedal, and that again doesn't come very naturally to me. So.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it? Driving styles are so different, and it's great that we have a sim that actually picks up on that. I can't think when I was a kid starting to get into video games and stuff that would ever be a real thing, but because we all have a unique way that we compute and we do racing, I'm amazed and so pleased that we have sims that actually pick up the nuances of our driving styles. Dan and I both share a track MX-5. We've done this Mazda MX-5 ups, engine change, full coilovers and all this stuff, and we go track driving with it. But we have such distinctly different driving styles. He's a late breaker, I'm a coaster, and yet it's kind of a funny thing is to see that in a sim and to be able to reflect that in a sim is something else. It's really great to be part of. Do you do a lot of endurance racing?
Yeah, we used to do, Simon and I and Ollie, who's doing our he's like our crew chief, so he's doing a lot of the maths and watching the pit wall stuff. We did a bunch of stuff at Simply Race in Milton Keynes, the in-person venue. They ran an endurance series with 2 6 hours, 2 12s and 24. And we did 2 years of that. With the first season was all GTE cars, and then the second season was a mix of GTE and LMP2. So it was different because it was in person. Everyone's in the same room, so there's less. It was actually much more like this, which I'm really pleased about, because whenever I've done online racing, people can be a bit aggressive. You get a lot of the headlight flashing is a thing, and it's really refreshing to be in a place where people aren't flashing you every 10 seconds. And it was like that in the in-person one because everybody's in the same room. So if someone's starting to, be aggressive or rude, or
you
wouldn't
be aggressive in person, would you? And
exactly.
It's that whole thing about anonymity when you're online. It gives people behavioural opportunities to do something they wouldn't do in real life.
Yeah.
And actually, it's great because you remind me that's one of the things that RWB sets as racing standards is. We don't care what the actual GT3 or GT4 drivers in real life do with their headlights in order to warn each other about them coming. There's one basic rule here. You only use them if you're being held up by somebody who has been holding you up for 3/4 or a whole lap. So if you meet them and they've held you up for 2 corners, that's not an excuse to flash them, even if they're a back marker. So I'm glad you brought it up because it's just a point of etiquette, and it's important to drive like this and race like this.
Yeah, I think I find it really annoying. And you watch the real GT3 races, and it's like footballers and tackles in my mind. Just because it becomes normal, and they're racing for position and they're constantly on the lights. I think it's just totally unnecessary. I know a lot of people say it's ridiculous, the rules that the club has, but I think it sets the right standard, and it just sets the right approach to racing. You don't need to do that. You do it when someone clearly hasn't seen you for a long period of time, and then it's reasonable. It's not about trying to put somebody off. You beat them on the track. You don't beat them by distracting them.
Yeah, absolutely. It sets a tone, and I think what it's done is made it so that you're not having that aggressive interaction with people. Therefore, your immediate reaction is not defensive. It's okay. These guys. There's someone faster behind me. Fine. When he gets the overlap, just let him through, and that's fine. You're not sitting there thinking, "Oh, for God's sake, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?"
Maybe also part of it comes from the fact that a lot of people do sprint racing, so the hour counts. Everything you do in that hour counts. This is 11, 12-hour racing. If somebody's faster than you, catching you through the race, let them pass. There's plenty of opportunities to pass them back. You'll have a driver swap. Maybe they'll make a mistake. Just play it nice and easy. And I think we've seen that message come across with a lot of the pro racers who have joined us in comms, and those that have done a lot of endurance racing, is that the message has always been the same. Even from Aris, the development guy, he basically is just saying, learn. It's a journey to learn how to be fast in this game, but you don't have to be fast every lap. Especially not in endurance.
No, we did one of the things we've done with this race is I don't think we've hit a 219 yet. Maybe we might have done while Simon's been in the car, but we've not ducked into the 219s, but we've made up almost all the places that we lost. And that's when we, thinking back to one of the Simply Race ones we did a 24-hour race in the Corvette. We did 23 pit stops.
23.
Yeah.
So that was a record.
It was so good. We literally I think we lost 90 seconds in 24 hours to damage. And other than that, it was just we had a fuel number and a lap time target, and it was hit the fuel number, hit the lap time target.
Yeah.
4 people. We split it into 4 6-hour races, so we paired the guys up so they had 6 hours on, 6 hours off, and it worked like clockwork. It was amazing, and we beat established sim racing teams, and we're just a bunch of beardy guys mucking around, basically.
That's great. It's really gratifying, isn't it? A lot of planning goes into actually, and then the execution bit is hard, no question. It's hard, but actually the agreement that you've got a strategy, the thought and the planning that might actually be a winning strategy, you see it in real life quite a lot in motor racing. So yeah, that must have been a nice one to be involved in.
Yeah, it's nice. That's why I much prefer sim racing to sprint, because it's more about the longer term and being a team.
Yeah, team thing's so important. It's been really great having you into the room, Graham. Thanks for coming on, and really happy. We're 1 hour 33 left to the end of the race. Got any specific goals that you need to set before the end of this race?
Keep it on the black stuff.
I think you've got the right attitude as a team. And by the way, Simon's doing 221s, 222s. Again, like you said, it's all about consistency, right?
That's it. Yeah, that's what he'll do. He's like a metronome, Simon. It's unbelievable.
Just bang him in. Yeah,
he's done that
it.
since he came out.
Yeah.
Absolutely every lap. There is not a single lap outside the 22s or the 21s.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Right, I'm taking his name down because I know exactly that quality is needed in these kind of races. So
he's
good on
very, very good. He's metronomic when it comes to that sort of thing. He literally just
Partridge the robot, I think.
he'll be doing it using probably half a litre less a lap of fuel as well, because that's just how he rolls.
I know we're sort of winding up here, but that's another thing I love about the sim is it highlights different driving styles, because we have the same when me and Si have taken part in endurance events, that I use less fuel than he does. We don't know why. We haven't gone and used racing sim tools, which would allow us to actually compare those laps using full-blown telemetry. We haven't done that, but clearly there is a difference in driving style there, and I don't know whether that is getting on the gas earlier for Si or what it is, but it's brilliant that you get those minute differences between drivers.
It's really helpful, and it's what makes it a good team sport.
Yeah, absolutely right. Good luck for the rest of the race, and keep it on the grey stuff, as you say. Good target.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye. Dan, Derek is in the waiting for comms. I spoke to him earlier, and I said I'd get back to him, and I was so confused with everything. I haven't done it. It'd be great to have a chat with Derek if we can get him in, while I punch in my details again for another donation, because I'm not finished yet.
No, you're showing me up. I feel like I need to do that too.
No obligation. It's my personal choice.
Oh, I realise there's no obligation, but that's not the point, Anyway, okay, I shall go grab Derek. Hold on.
All right, thank you. Sure. What? Derek, sorry for keeping you waiting. Are you still awake?
Oh, you are fine. Yes, plenty awake. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Thanks for jumping in. How's the team going? I can't see your name on my cheat list here. What's the name of the team? What's the number of the car?
GRG Sports, number 75.
You're 75. All right. Okay. Thank you. Qualified 14. Currently, where are you running?
21st.
21st. So not such a great finish, but that 21st you can't be sniffed at. You're running in an AMG. I think one of your first teams we've spoken to who's picked the Mercedes. How are you finding that?
So I think we're having the issues the other teams are having is just the update kind of caught us a little bit off guard.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of incidents going up the hill, just with guys relying on the previous update and then getting in the car and then first lap spinning it. So we've had to recover from a few spots from those.
And same spot that everyone has been complaining at. You're talking about Eau Rouge into Radion?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that's been the same for the Beamers, and it's been the same for the Audi. How have you adapted to it, by the way? Your car is completely surrounded by other cars at the moment.
Just try and calm the drivers down a little bit. We are a new team. We, as my driver just passes 2 lap cars and
yeah, yeah, ciao.
So we are a relatively new team. This is only our second race as an ACC esports team.
Okay. So are you new to ACC or are you new to each other as well?
So we will be celebrating our 3rd year as GRG as a group.
Gotcha.
The esports team was basically formed late last year. So we started out in R Factor 2, and this is our second race as an endurance team in ACC.
Right, okay. And what was the first race?
Would be the Paul Ricard race. We were in the GT4 class with Alex and Yannick.
Okay.
And unfortunately had some disconnection issues. We were on pole for that race. And it kind of went downhill after that.
Yeah, okay. Everything goes downhill from being pole position, especially if you get a disconnect. So if you start at pole position at Paul Ricard, you must have fancied yourself a top 10 in this race.
Correct. So we started 14th. We were, I think, 12th on the first start.
Yep.
But then the second start, we kind of got pushed down a little bit. John Mazurik's been racing with you guys for a while. With him being an American in his job right now, he gives him the ability to race with you guys.
Yeah.
So he's been pretty consistent with you guys. And he did a very good triple stint for us to start. But then with Alex getting in the car, the update kind of caught him out a little bit.
Yeah, we've had a few drivers with that. So basically adapting to that has been the challenge, right? So it's not caught you out in any other corners, or is it catching you out all the time, but really badly at Radium?
Pretty much really badly at Radium.
Okay.
Is where it's at. So the drivers, I've just been trying to coach the drivers to get them through it. We've adapted a little bit with our shifting going up the hill to try and keep the torque in the car. I think they were trying to go into fifth gear through the corner, and the torque was just too low for them to keep the traction.
Yeah,
so what are you doing through there now? Are you having to lift or dab the brakes, or is it just about gear choice?
Lift and downshift.
Ah, okay. So we had a BMW team come on saying they're actually starting the braking method at the bottom of the hill in order to keep it together.
So yeah, it's going fifth into Rouge, and then once the revs start going down as a lift, go into fourth to keep the torque.
Gotcha. Okay. Isn't that funny? You're having to teach yourself on the fly. I mean, in fairness, every team is struggling with this, but we have noticed that BMW and Audi were struggling more with it at the start. So interesting to hear that you're also picking up that problem in the Mercedes. But in general, how are you finding the car then? You're running in I think you're second place Audi, is that right? Let me just do a quick check here. Yeah,
so Beatster donated £10. Thank you very much,
so
Beatster. Sorry to interrupt.
We had actually planned on rain.
Uh-huh.
So we kind of have a rain setup as well. So that's affecting us. I think that affected us, our pace as well.
So what's the best outcome? You have an hour and 25 left. Currently running in 21st.
Unfortunately, we're definitely off sequence. So we have 2 more stops right now.
Oh, okay. That's going to be a pain, isn't it?
Yeah. The hope was P12. Well, the initial hope was P15, and then it became P20.
Yeah, and I mean, it's great credit, right? And we've spoken to many people who've jumped into the booth who had even much worse falls from grace than you've had in this race. But the general feeling that we always get from these drivers when they come and chat to us is, after the first 40 minutes of being disappointed, maybe a little angry, you get through that phase and then you go, right, well, we're going to finish this, whatever. And that becomes your single focus, so how are you settling? Are you just thinking, right, let's just finish this race, let's keep it together? Or are you thinking, no, there's still something in this for us. We can still get back to where we were at the start, if you like.
So with me being the sporting director, I'm kind of the head coach of the team.
Yep.
If we can't bring it back to the pits, then we retire. With the R Factor 2 team, we've had a few 12-hour, 24-hour races where just pushing, keeping it going, we've gotten rewarded with a podium or 2.
Yeah, that's exactly what endurance is about, isn't it? It's endurance. Who knows what's going to happen in the last hour? Still plenty of race to be won here.
And with it being pretty much a single class, I mean, we have AM, Pro-Am, and such. It's still a full GT3 race. Unfortunately, at that 50 cars, it's hard to pull a podium out of the bag if you're as low as we are. But 2020 has just been a learning year for us, and it's just getting all the drivers' experience.
Yeah. So what's your verdict then? You've done a lot of R Factor 2 by the sound of it. What's your feeling generally about ACC? What's the learning curve you've still got to do, if any?
Just getting drivers' experience in different conditions.
Yeah.
With R Factor 2, our trouble has been with the drivers' changeable conditions. I think that's the biggest thing for any driver in any sim is you can hot lap when it's optimum track temperature, 25 degrees C, whatever, as much as you want. But when you have a greasy track and it's wet, dry, then the experience is where it really comes into the fold.
Just tracking here on the stream, your guys are coming in for a pit, so do they need you?
I'm assuming that's not you in the car now, right?
That's not him in the car.
No. Alex is taking care of Yannick right now. It's just bringing it home right now.
I was expecting it just to go quiet. Derek?
I have learned with these interviews just to mute everything, so
yeah, I love it.
I have done some other interviews where I've been yelling at the same time.
What I really love, right, just to float this idea past you, since as we are getting to an hour to the end of the race, Dan and I talked previously about what it would be like if we did interviews with real drivers, because there are some classes of racing, I know, where the commentator or the production team jump into the cockpit of a driver and say, "Hi, how you doing?" And expect some kind of coherent interview with the driver. It's totally possible for us to do that. We've never actually thought about doing it. What's your view?
If the driver's willing to do it, so with the COVID thing, I actually had worked with a professional driver, Alec Udell, and he started racing with us a little bit in our community, and we did the SRO GT races together.
Gotcha.
He, as the driver, had told me initially that he didn't like communication during the race.
Yep.
And I think with me working with him, he even said himself that he's more used to communication during races now. So I mean, with my working with drivers, each driver's different.
Yeah.
Some drivers need to be talked to so they don't fall asleep. Some guys are shut up, don't talk to me unless I ask.
Yeah, gotcha.
So Derek, I've got a message from the team in the YouTube chat while we're talking to you. Alex said, "Please let Derek know. None of us give him enough credit for what he does for the team. He was fantastic at calming me down at the most stressful time of the race. We really would not have been able to get to this point in the race without him."
Cool.
How nice is that? How does that make you feel?
My job.
It's your job.
My job.
You should take a moment to take the thank yous. So yeah, credit to you, Derek, keeping the team together.
Yeah. I did. Unfortunately, 10 years ago, some life changes removed me from being a football coach.
Wow.
Well.
So you were already doing coaching.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you meet somebody special, such as your wife. Sometimes you gotta make some life changes, so this definitely fills that void for me.
I hear you. That's good.
Cool. And Yannick, by the way, this is for position what we're seeing on the track right now. Right up behind Napone. He's right up his backside right now.
Good shout, Dan. It's very difficult to track that sometimes. So pushing for 22nd position right now is Yannick. So it's getting interesting here as we climb up Port Fair. Looks like he's got him.
Because he's got the leader behind him too.
Looks like he's got him, right? Oh, he's got the race leader behind. Yeah, just spotted. Thank you. Good comms. We can't see that in the... oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, no.
He's run wide, but collected it. Oh, no. Lost it. Okay, that's really annoying. He was just making progress there, and then I think maybe just the pack got a little bit too tight. Sorry about that.
It always feels like commentator's curse, doesn't it? When you've got someone from the team and they're in the commentary booth,
I'll take my
this stuff happens. So, that's our fault.
That might have been a good opportunity for me to pop out and...
All right. All right, on that note, thank you very much, Derek. Sorry that you witnessed that, and so did the stream, but you guys are doing awesome. Thank you very much for jumping in.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Cheers. Bye. Oh, man, that's so annoying. Martin Pater, thank you so much for the donation, £50. I saw it come up there. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. We've got a couple of people waiting in the comms room. I think probably when we get to around about 30 or 40 minutes towards the end, we probably need to hold fire and just focus on the racing. So we'll bring these guys in, and then I think we probably have to say
something going on behind there with Team 75. I just noted someone spearing off in.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's okay. That looks like they collected it because they're back on track again.
All right.
I think that was the Audi behind there.
So we've got Jack Bird and Elgard who've both volunteered to come and have a chat again. I think it'd be interesting to hear how.
Yeah. So Jack jumped in first. I keep casting an eye in there, so we'll grab Jack. Maybe when we get to the hour, we'll have a chance to have a bit of a recap of an hour to go.
Yeah, I think we need to probably end up saying thanks to everyone who's jumped in with an hour left to go on the race. We're going to quit doing the interviews and just focus on what's left of the race.
Yeah, I'm loving it though. It's so cool to get all those different perspectives. Anyway, I will grab Jack. Hold on.
Okay, this is Henry Wardell currently driving in 9th position. So Henry is in our top amateur team, and we're joined in the commentary booth by Jack, who's his colleague. How's it going, Jack?
Very well, thank you for having me. Congratulations on hitting 3K.
Oh, awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we're going to do it.
You're already doing it. You're already top of the amateur class, so you just got to hold it. But what's the plan? Is there more places to be gained?
Potentially. So we've worked out that by keeping our head down, keeping out of damage, and just being consistent, we should be able to do effectively one less stop. So where some teams are out of sequence, potentially having to do 2 stops, or stop now and do a splash and dash towards the end. I should be getting in the car with about 58 minutes to go.
Oh, perfect.
So literally like an hour plus a lap.
So you'll be taking us home for the final stint here. Okay. Well, that would be something. If you, what's your calculation then? If you've got some cars in front of you who are out of sequence or have to do a splash and dash to finish off, where would that put you on your funky spreadsheet that you've got?
Unfortunately, our funky spreadsheet was, can we actually make this strategy work? And it's yes.
So it's a yes. Okay, so it's kind of a binary spreadsheet. Yeah, it's got one box. It's a pull-down box, which has got yes or no.
we were kind of touch and go in terms of, right, can we do it? So we were tracking when we were leaving the pits to then do the stint timer for when we come back in again.
Yeah.
But in terms of like tracking gaps and stuff, I think we've overperformed our expectations. So to get anything more than this would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. We talked about this earlier. You're currently running in 9th place. You qualied in 34th place, just to make sure everybody on the stream hears that. I don't even know how to do the maths. That's 25 positions. So you're 25 positions up. We were talking about it earlier. We think you probably are the highest climbing team on the track.
Thank you.
That's outstanding, isn't it? You've got to be happy. Even if you only made 5 places, let's be honest, you'd be happy with a 5th place on your grid position. But 25 is nuts. And
running in the top 10, yeah.
I mean, after the last interview, we said like, is top 10 possible? Saying like 14th place, and we've done that. I guess now the next thing is if we can get Jardier's team, that'd be nice.
Oh yeah, I mean everyone's got that great big crosshair on Jardier, right? But that's the thing, isn't it? That's the weird thing about racers. I think about the psychology of being a racer is you set a goal, and if you achieve that goal, you create a new one, and you're able to put your mind into creating, targeting yourself on something, unless you're in first position. And I said this earlier on in the stream a couple of times. I think if you're in first position, you probably, in order to maintain first, you have to have some quite unique skills, because psychologically it's all there to be lost, not to be won anymore. And I think that when you do what you just said, is you've made the top 10, who knows, you might be able to get ahead of Jardier's team, and so you're setting new targets. And I think that's a really unique thing that happens with racers.
Yeah, definitely. And also, when you follow the fast guys as well, for example, is learning as you go along. For example, it might be a different line or a different braking point for a corner, and you're actually, even though they're lapping you, it's a case of, will you pick up knowledge from them as you go along, so naturally you're always improving.
Yeah, I spotted a few different lines. I was tracking earlier with Aris's team in turn 1. They're currently running in 4th position at the minute with Oskar Sandberg at the wheel. And I think it was Wilhelm, one of their drivers, takes a really unique line at the bottom of Eau Rouge Hill. I haven't seen any other cars crossing so much curb on that very bottom of the hill before you take the right-hander up the hill. And it's like you said, it's the same like in real life. If somebody's in front of you and they're a fast driver and they're braking away from you, just learn from them. You've got, a minute, 2 minutes behind them before they gap you out of sight. But you've got that moment of time to learn one thing new every lap. And you could do that over 11 hours. And you're probably, have you noticed an improvement in your lap times just because you've been able to track a few quicker drivers?
Certainly. Also, just watching the onboards of some of the other cars as well. We chose wasn't involved in the car choice, but the Aston's quite a stable car. But watching the 150 and P1, mainly about gears, for example. Okay. So we've learned that the Aston, for example, doesn't like high torque. So as it starts to slip, rather than staying in second, you change up to third.
Okay, so short shifting really helps.
Short shifting,
has helped a lot. Whereas, for example, say coming out of Les Combes, in second gear and it starts to slip, actually if you change up to third, obviously you're still keeping the power in, but you're reducing the torque, therefore you're keeping the traction.
So you get some stability in the car as you've got your foot down.
Exactly.
I think it's a great choice. It's the car we used in the 6 hours of Suzuka, and I think if I'm struggling in a certain car, I fall back on the Aston. I think it's a nice car that doesn't give you too many surprises. Not always the fastest, but like you said, look at P1 right now.
Consistent and predictable. Personally, I wanted the Lambo. That was my choice. I'm a really Lamborghini fan. That car is set up perfectly. It's stable and just predictable, but it's a bit twitchy if you don't know how to drive it.
I think you have to concentrate. And we were talking about this earlier. The Lamborghini, we only had one Lamborghini in 50 cars. Only one team selected the Lamborghini. Surprising. I was really surprised as both. And then, of course, that car was vying for top 3 positions for most of the race until they had some issues. So, maybe there's a few drivers out there like yourself who had their eyes on the Lamborghini and were convinced out of it or voted out of it by their teammates. By the way, how does that work? You're currently, you've got 3 other drivers on your team. I'm sorry, I'm missing that. You've got 3 other drivers, is that right?
Yeah, only me, Thomas, and Henry. So 3 of us in total. We originally did it in the Porsche, and I said that we can't do the Porsche at Spa because it's terrible. It's not very quick. Yep. And I'm like, okay, let's go to the Aston, and we tried it, and they tried the Lamborghini, and they didn't like it. So I'm in that situation. You're more than happy to compromise for the good of the team.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? You're trying to make sure that everyone gets what they want, but sometimes that means you have to compromise what you want.
Yeah, understandable, but I don't think it's that bad of a choice. The Aston's a great car. It's not like you're say going from that to the Gallardo, for example, because that is questionable.
I always think I'm surprised there's no Jaguars in the race. What's going on?
Yeah. That thing would be quick in a straight line.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I love the livery, the Coke livery. I think it really pops, and I'm not biased at all, but Union Jack on the roof, go Brits.
Thank you very much. So that's both of them. I was not involved in the livery at all. The Coke idea, and it looks really good. First time actually seeing it properly today, which is absolutely beautiful.
It does pop on the stream as well.
The rainbow on the livery, or the rainbow on the splitter at the back as well.
Noted. Seen that pop up a few times on the stream. So thanks so much for jumping in, Jack. And you've got an hour to go. Go for it. Let's get you comfortably in the top 10. Let's get Jardier's team out the way.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening.
Good luck.
Cheers.
I've been struggling a little bit here to get control of the broadcasting tool, so I might just need a little support for a second.
Okay.
It won't be a second while I just do a couple of messages.
Okay, we've got one final interview, I think, in us before we reach the final hour, but I'll hold off at the moment.
Okay.
So I was just keeping an eye on car 75, where we had Scrimpy Data in before. Oh, sorry, where we had Derek in, and they had that moment. he's closing Napone down again. So he's got his head back down, and he's bringing that car back in again. So he's got the pace. He's got the chance to take that position again. So I think it's going to end up quite positively for them.
Okay, could you do me a favour?
Sure.
Go and have a chat with FX, could you?
Okay.
I'm not able to get broadcasting app to work. It's now not letting me disconnect and connect. So while we're doing that, I'll just keep us through. We're an hour and 7 minutes to go of our 12-hour race. We did have a false start at the start of today. Midday we started on Saturday. It's now 23:35 in GMT terms. A couple of technical issues, 50 drivers, 179 people, sorry, 50 cars, 179 people joining the server. Thank you, Andy, for donating £10. And we had a couple of restarts just to get the server stabilized, and then once we got off, we got off. Running a little bit late, but that's not bad, and everything has settled down. We've had about 5 or 6 retirements, some technical, some massive damage. I don't think anybody has quit because they wanted to quit. Teams are doing a great job. We've had drivers who have had 8 pit stops within the first hour because of all kinds of issues they were having with the car, but they're still sticking with it, which is credit to them. It's actually credit to everyone, because the whole point of doing this race today has been to raise money for charity, and the charity we've picked is Mind, which is a charity to help support mental health issues, to raise awareness for mental health issues, but also to help people who are struggling at this time. So there's phone lines, there's all kinds of helpful services to help people to get through and to have somebody as a safety net for them if they're struggling at the moment. This is important. We know that there's a lot of people who struggle with mental health issues. This race is in honour of one of our teammates, TK421, who's no longer with us this year. And obviously the team's very sad, so this is a memorial to him, but also to make sure that we raise awareness of it. So we're currently at £3,364. Which is absolutely outstanding. On the screen, if you've just joined us and you see that it says 168%, that's actually 168% on 2,000, but that was not our original target. Our original target was 1,000, which we made in the first lap of the race. So everything has come really good in this race, and I'm just checking. I can't reconnect to the broadcasting app at the moment, but yeah, already way ahead of our target. So just hold the line for a second while I just do a quick check on tech. Yeah, it's kind of not surprising. I have the odd tech issue here and there. I lost control of the cameras on my broadcasting app. I'm actually remoting into a stream server in order to give you the views. So we'll be back in 1 second where we get that restarted, and I'll be able to recontrol it, and we'll be back on for the final hour of today's race. Quick question for you, Dan. We started off last week. We did a 2-hour practice. We finished the 2-hour race, and we said, 2 hours of commentating is quite hard work. Do you think we could do 12? And I think both of us went, nah, probably not. That would be too hard work. But we thought about it, spent a couple of days worrying about it, and then thought, no, we should go for it. Everybody else has put so much effort into the race. Any regrets?
None at all. I'll be honest, I'm flagging a bit, but I'm buoyed up by all of the donations, the donation target as it sits right now. I think the stream's come back up while we're talking, by the way.
Yep.
And the really nice glass of 2019 Pinot Gris from Hawke's Bay in New Zealand that I've cracked open. That's helping a bit.
Yeah, very helpful, and I have full control of cameras. So thank you very much. Small glitches like that, they keep us on a rail. That's 12 hours, and so if that's the worst that happens, do it every hour. Back in the room, and we're tracking here with CSAM, who's in our #1 position car. They have driven 272 laps, which is quite something in its own right. And thanks very much to everybody who's jumped in, and apologies to Elgard. I know I can see you sitting and waiting for comms, but I think we need to just start focusing as a commentary team just on this final section. So thanks very much for jumping in and helping us along the route. We've had a great time interviewing all the drivers, but we're going to focus for the final hour. Just to bring us home, we've got a few things we needed to make sure that we were sharing with everyone, because we didn't want to finish the stream and have everybody disconnect and disappear. There's a lot to celebrate about what we've done today, and there's a lot to look back on. So it's been a fantastic race. You're looking at the Flying Lizard Motorsports team, who have been sitting in first for some time. Honestly, a powerhouse of a team. Einar Rose, Joran Ruling, C-Sam, and Paul Cole, although honestly I haven't seen Paul Cole, so not sure whether they brought the fourth man along or not. But they've just done a stellar job at the front of the track. But massive credit to Chris Veron and their team, Team 58, who are currently running in second. And they are a Pro-Am team. So for anyone who's not been joining on earlier, this is United Colours of RWB. And they are running as a Pro-Am team, which means that they do not have pro drivers in there. They have some pros, but they also have amateurs. An amateur driver is somebody who's hitting times that are probably 2+ seconds off the race pace of the pros. So they are a Pro-Am team that's going to be on the podium here, which is quite something. I honestly was expecting it all to be pros for the top 5 or 6 teams, with Pro-Ams feeling in behind, but as it looks to me, if they can keep this together for the last hour, if they're not out of synchronization, but they look to be in a good situation. Really great racing.
Yeah, and they started in P11, so you know that's a big effort right at the sharp end of the grid there.
Just checking in the chat here. So Chris Crossman was part of the team. Chris Crossman was part of the team in the Lamborghinis. Am I right? And he's just making making some comments, giving us some information about how that was that they managed to lose it in the race, which is a real shame because we were excited and rooting for them actually. One of our guys came up against a back marker at Eau Rouge. They lifted a lot, so our driver had to back off and went up the back of them at the worst possible time, and they ended up in a wall. Nobody's fault, but that was pretty much it for them. Car was ruined, and they had to jump to the pits with 5 minutes damage. Waited, went back out on the tyres, but they were ruined. So yeah, a bit heartbreaking. That's not a nice story. Sorry to hear that, Chris. Thanks for chatting with us online.
Yeah,
you were looking at such a great team.
I don't think they actually clashed with the back marker. I think what he was saying is they lifted, and it was at just the wrong time going through Eau Rouge into Radion that they lost control of the car trying to avoid the back marker. Avoided the back marker, and smashed into the wall as a result.
Yeah, so, honestly, they were absolute guaranteed podiums as far as I could see. They were vying for first and second place for most of the race. And as Chris mentions on here, they're about to put their fastest guy in the wheel for the final leg of this. So sad for you, Chris. You had a great race. And come back, show us what you're capable of. Can't wait. So we have, and there you go, Oskar Sandberg, third position. This will be making Aris and Wilhelm very, very happy as they race into this. And just looking back, that does look to me like it's Jardier's car behind. Out of position, but just to check here, yep, that's Jardier's car. Let's jump on board with Jardier as he's tracking behind turn 1. These probably won't separate for the next hour. We have Oskar Sandberg in front with his left indicator on to indicate that he smashed his left indicator button, and he's going to let Jardier through. Yes, he is. It's not for race. Just check that he's managed to keep that on track. That's all good. Oskar there pushed a little bit hard by Jardier, who's moving up into 8th position, and we've currently got Dan Sedgley in 4th, Maxi Lentini in 5th, Christopher Zokling in 6th, Mike Williams in 7th, Jardier in 8th, and in 9th we have Walter Vilhelm and David Dorr in 10th. Some great racing going on. Our top AM driver is Jack Bird. We've spoken to him a couple of times. He's in for his final stint, and he just said to us, "Oh, it says here he's 11th. I'm sure I saw him in 10th, but yeah, he said top 10 is the target. Jardier is the ultimate target, but let's see." Their strategy has been keep it on the grey stuff, keep those laps coming in, which is awesome. Oh, and amazing. RWB Theo just donated £10. So thanks very much. It's really helping the cause. Really appreciate your donation.
Well, I had a bit of downtime while you were talking, so I thought, well, I've got to find something to do. So
right,
why not go donate money to some amazing charity? And I just happened to find one that RWB had been promoting. Thought, let's go donate to them. Yeah, I think we're seeing some pit stops working out now. We've got the final hour, so there's probably going to be a little bit of switcheroo going on while teams come in and pit. That might be why we've seen Jake drop down to 11th there. There's probably some other teams that still need to come in and pit.
Yeah, and actually it's interesting, isn't it? Because we try not to just track the top 10. I mean, when you've got 45 cars racing, it's kind of impossible and very boring for me to run through 45 drivers each time. I know that's everyone wants to see themselves and see their own cars, and I've done it 2 or 3 times during the race, and I'll continue to do it before the end, because the drivers' races are happening all the way through the track here. We're focusing on where we see the race, which I think is the important thing, and where we see people making position changes. It is very difficult to keep track of everyone. So while I say that, I'm going to go a little bit further back down the grid, and let's check out Greedy Me, who is tracking in behind. I think that's Aris's car, or Aris's Team Turn 1's car. We had Charger in earlier. Greedy Me's in the same team, and they're running currently in 40th position. Struggling a little bit with the handling, I think they were mentioning, of this AMG, having got used to the previous model and then just having to adapt. Something that Aris made a point of, if you've been listening to the stream at all, came online and said, one of the things about sim races is that they do create muscle memory, and anything that actually challenges that muscle memory is always a problem for them. And that's not that the game is getting any better or worse, it's just to say that you do have to adapt when physics models change in the game, or when pressure models change in the game. You do have to adapt your driving style to it, and that's just part of the way these things update. I think it's better that way, because if you end up releasing a piece of software in 2018 and you stick with that original physics model, you're missing an opportunity to improve everything about it. So as sim racers, we have to appreciate, if we want the best products, we have to also adapt, like you would do in a real racing series if suddenly Avon weren't the tyre supplier and somebody else was, like Michelin or something. You have to drive to what you've got. So doing really well here, 40th position, Greedy Me. They're staying in it, and that's the most important thing of all. Finishing the race, number 1 goal.
Yeah, I'm just while you're talking now, I'm just sort of moving down the list to see who our biggest movers and shakers are. But I'll have to come back to you. It's quite a long job working your way down through the grid there.
Yeah.
So have we seen, just watching pit wall there and saw Dulking's car suddenly drop down? Is that because they've just taken a pit stop, or am I not? I'm seeing them in P7
8th.
right now.
I've got them in 8th.
Okay. So they probably have just taken a pit. We're a bit sort of out of sync because we've had to restart that session, so we've lost all of our race stats, and we've just got them from now onwards. So it makes some of those sort of pit discussions a little bit harder to have. Anyway, I'm going to keep going and see. I want to find out who's really made a lot of progress here from their start position. That's what I was trying to find out.
I'm just looking at Dulking's car. I think they brought that in for a valet. It looks immaculate. It's been out there for 24 hours. Did they say, don't bother with fuel and tyres and stuff, just buff it up a bit? It's got some tyre rubber on it, but that looks like either it's me or let's just reset the render engine here. But that's just clean it up, will you? We're coming into the final 50 minutes. We want to look good.
I haven't seen that option in the MFD. I didn't realise you could pick that. Yeah, suspension damage check, bodywork damage check, car valet.
Yeah, and there's 15 different requests. You can have the interior vacuumed out. You can have you can have the wheels done. You can even have the wheels fully refurbished if you've got time.
Oh dear. You can tell it's getting late, can't you?
Yep, you can. This is Dalking, who's running in the Dalking community car, running in 8th position. They were definitely top 5 for quite a long period of this race. Qualified in P1, if I remember rightly. Have moved down the rankings through the race. I've not noticed that they've had any distinct instances, any crashes, any massive off tracks. I think I heard earlier one of CSAM, it could have been CSAM himself, telling us that they'd had a drive-through, so they had to serve our current top leader has had a drive-through in this race, but the car in front of them, which I think was Dalking's, also had a drive-through, but I haven't seen any massive incidences. They seem to have managed to track through here, so it could just be they've been caught up in the wrong situation or that kind of stuff. So they're running in 8th, which is 7 positions down from their quali position.
You have to say Jardier's car's done well, from that very early nightmare disconnect situation, lost a whole chunk of time. I think they had some other technical issues at some point in the race as well. Yeah. And yet, yes, that whole team has got great pace, and so they've managed to get themselves back up in 7th there. It's impressive.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm sure they're enjoying being ahead of Dalking.
Oh yeah, there's always that rivalry between them.
We're looking at Christopher Zokling, and we have not focused on this car a great deal, but this is our highest position Nissan. Do like the Nissan. There's something about it. It's obviously been creeping up through the table without us noticing it, but now sitting in 6th place. Let's just check in there. This is car number 137. 137 qualified in 12th, so they've made a 6th place gain and looking, let's say, pacey as they go through this final section.
They're all back markers that they're working through here, so I have got them up. I can see the relative.
Okay, that's definitely not Alexis challenging in front, right? That's not Lentini.
No,
okay,
that's
good.
765 T Hins.
Yeah, okay. Nice looking paintwork. So with 50 minutes to go, Dan, I might have to put you on the spot and give me a view. What's the best looking car out here that you've seen? Best looking livery? I'll give you a few minutes because you can flick through the teams and flick through the cars.
That's
true.
By the way,
I don't know why the back marker was pressuring back there. That was a blue flag pass. A little bit of flashing and frustration coming from Christopher there. Not surprised. It really should have just been allowed through. That seemed a bit unnecessary. We've got 50 minutes to go. Just let him go.
Yeah, just back off and let him carry on.
There's some kind of beef here, isn't there?
So, by the way, I was talking about movers and shakers, and actually we had Jake in and we're chatting to him, and I think they really are the standout team from that perspective. So, starting in 34th, and a full amateur team, and here they are running in P9. They must be ecstatic. That's an amazing result.
Yeah.
And I've got everything crossed here that they just keep that all hanging together and they bring it in.
Yeah, there's so many chances for things to go wrong. We talked about it. You might think with a 12-hour race and a huge circuit like Spa that you'll spend a lot of the time, in free air, just kind of lapping on your own and all that stuff. But it's far from it. It's non-stop negotiation and battling, especially when you're picking up back markers as well. You're trying to keep your distance from the guy behind you. You're trying to slip through the back markers as quickly as you can. If you're the back marker, you're trying not to lose time to let faster cars through, but you're respecting that they're faster than you. There's so many things that can go wrong, so many judgments, because you're constantly having this kind of car-to-car discussion with everyone else on the track. So even with 49 minutes left, if, like you said before, Dan, when we were 2.5 hours off the finish here, a 2.5 hour race feels like brutal. We're still 49 minutes off here. That's no short race either. We're getting into sprint territory. But if you remember, Jack told us their strategy was going to play out that they did not need any more splash and dashes. Jack is the last driver in this car, so he's hoping to bring it home. He's got Dalking in front of him, but it looks to me like they've got laps and laps different, so obviously can't really check on pit wall because we're a bit out of sync with that. But yeah, I think best position by what I can see here, is 9th unless something happens with the cars in front.
Yeah, I think there's a good maybe lap between P9 and P8.
So just checking back here, CSAM in the front position. We'll do a quick check on CSAM. 278 laps have been completed. He is only 5.8 seconds ahead of Tverin. Let's do a quick check here what we can. I can see here best lap is 2:19.353. Last lap is 20 seconds, 0.19. We think that gap is decreasing. Okay, we had a pit changeover. There you go. Last lap was 4 minutes for CSAM. So this is their final stint. They have track position, but it's 5.8 seconds. So can you believe 11 hours and 20 minutes or so into this race, we have 5.8 seconds separating cars 1 and 2. That's quite something.
Amazing, really, to run this many laps over this amount of time, and really there's a fight on, and unless we're, having said that, there may be some pit overlap here, because P1 were running, last time I looked, about 100 seconds in front.
Yeah.
So it may be that P2 has got a pit stop to go yet. I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. No, we don't have that information. We lost that somehow. But yeah, what have we got here? There's no way that I'm trying to work out. Is there a way I can inspect his fuel level by going into the dash or anything like that? There's no opportunity to see that, to see what he's currently carrying or anything. That's a shame, isn't it? That would be the intel we'd need to see whether Tverin is going to make this through to the end here, or whether he's going to have to make a pit. But it's currently 5.1 second difference, and with those lap times, just looking at CSAM's time, did a 2:21, and the last lap Tverin did a 2:20. So keep an eye on that top left corner to see whether that's dropping. We may have an out of sequence non-race that we're tracking here. But it's certainly worth looking at. Maybe somebody in the chat has got more intel than we do.
By the way, I'm building up my short list of liveries. I'm going to try and give you 5.
Yep, thank you very much. Let's just do a quick check around here. I'll come from the back to the front quickly. This will be the last time I'll run through this. We are 46 minutes to the end of the race, and going to the car that's currently running in 43rd place. Let's just pick up a nice camera view so we can see all these cars. So we are looking at Sahara, who's running in 43rd, car number 96. Emilio Souza, we spoke to him earlier, in 42nd place in car 787. Daniel Barnett is in 41st position, and Greedy Me is in 40th position, car number 69. Tiger is 1 place ahead in 427, in car number 427, 39th position, with Dirk Gretschel. This is the all race room team who are newbies to ACC. They're currently in 38th position, been struggling with that BMW by all accounts. James Butler in 37th position, currently in car 420. We have Thomas Hintz in 36th position in car number 765. Gautam Srinivasan is 35th position in car number 238, and Juan Miranda is in 34th in car number 888. Mario Pereira is in 33rd, 747, and RWB Pinpoint Binners is in 32nd place in car number 473. Rod is in 31st in car 763, and I see Christoph Verstreppen in car number 43 in the pits. So whether that's their final switchover, or they, by the way, I just noticed that Rod has a drive-through in 31st position. Alex Smith in 29th position here, car number 7, and Carzolia in car number 99. That's the Simstock team in 28th. We've seen that car battered up earlier in the race. Looks all good shape now. Hax is in 27th position in car number 421. And Scott Free just ahead in 26th position, car number 309. Patrick Nemsovsky is in car number 193. Oh, wow, I haven't even spotted that. That's a really lovely looking Lexus. And that's in 25th. Ian Mackey joined us earlier, car number 97, running in 24th position, with Marco Badowski in 23rd position, car number 88. We have Yannick Rambach in 22nd position in car number 75, and Peter Varga in 21st position in car number 190. Max Mallier in 20th on car number 112, and we have Nida Zak, who is in car number 68. That's 19th position. Now into the top 20 with 18th position of Andre Moy, car number 67. Yeah, love that livery. Nice work. Jürgen Walby in 17th place, car number 227. Also love that work. Henrik Rocha, car number 16th, 333. And in 15th position, we have Matthew Santiago in car number 909. And I think that might be the highest placed Mercedes. It is in 15th place. Alistair Leckie in 14th position, car number 808. And Crawford Brown in 13th position, car number 141. John Gixer is in 12th in car number 80, and Martin Schaefer is in car number 666, running in 11th. Martin Schaefer, yep, that's checking that. And we're into the top 10. The top 10 is Petter Peck in 10th position in car number 991 in a Ferrari. We'll see a few Ferraris in this top 10. Jack Bird is our highest placed AM driver. He's running in 9th and hoping to push for this final stint. We've got Dalking in 8th position in car number 82, having had a beautiful valet job in the last pit stop. And he is behind Jardier, who is running in 7th place. So we've got both of our... thank you, Herbie, for the donation. Very, very kind. Thank you very much indeed. £10 donation. Really appreciate it. And so Jardier in 7th, and Christopher Zuckling in car number 137 is in 6th. Into the top 5 now. These are the teams. What's going on here? Maxi Lentini.
Well, this could be
position.
Their final stop. This could be.
But it does not look like he's in a pit position.
Oh, yeah, good point.
It looked like he was in the pit lane, but not in a pit position. So some issues on the in lap of the pit. I don't know whether that's going to be costly, but he's coming into pit. So as we track that, Maxi Lentini in car number 222, that will surely damage his position here. In 6th position, yep, and moving up into 5th because of that is Christopher Zuckling, who we mentioned just a minute ago. Oskar Sandberg is in the pits, so this is exactly what Jack Bird was talking about earlier. Some cars are having to do a final splash and dash for this last 40 minutes, and if you've managed to hold out and get a full hour leg at the end here, you've got a 20-minute opportunity to take advantage of this situation. So Oskar currently sitting in the pit in 5th position, with Christoph Zuckling now having inherited 2 places, so I wonder whether he's holding off for one more pit stop or whether this is the last run to the end. We've got Dan Sedgley in 3rd position, so these are podium positions now. So Dan has crept up through this race. So we have not mentioned much about this McLaren at all. So he's a shock package, I'd say, in this race, coming in 3rd at the minute with 40 minutes still left of the race. And in 2nd position, we have Christoph Taveren, who is our top running Pro-Am driver. Running the race, and honestly speaking, has been running the race for quite a long time, is CSAM in team number 150 in the Aston Martin. Whew! And there's your top 43 drivers from bottom to top.
So if you take a look at our drivers and cars sheet, I've started to mark to the right hand side of them with a little purple block the ones which I have shortlisted as the livery. So obviously this is personal choice on my point, and if as you're looking through there, you may well select another 1 or 2 that you feel I should have included.
Right, give me a minute. How many did you pick?
I couldn't do 5. I just couldn't be. I wasn't strong enough. I ended up with 8.
So right, great.
There's so many good liveries. It was really hard.
You missed that one. Sorry, I'm going to have that.
So maybe we should try and keep it down to 10. So you can have 2. You can have 2.
Yeah, thanks. Let me just add this one. You missed that one, or you forgot that one. Dutch and Deutsch there, running that livery, which I think is just amazing. Remember, this was the livery done by the expert livery team. So, and you can tell. Look at the lining. It's really not easy to get the decals to line up across panels like that. I know.
You see, you're basing this on personal experience because you know what it's like trying to create a livery.
Trying not to be too sad. Is he warming his tyres up? He's warming his tyres up the straight. So let's get this right. Track temperature 31. Is he struggling with tyre temps? Or is he bored? Or is he waking himself up? That was interesting. Definitely some weaving going up the camel there. Or just because he knows he's on stream, he's starting to charlie around. Alright, we'll put him on there. That's good. Good looking car. So let's just run through these. Maybe the chat should help us with this a bit if there's anyone still alive on chat.
Well, I noticed somebody mentioning one of the cars that I already had in my list, so that makes me feel good.
Okay, good. So let's just look through Dan's list. So on this list, this is the Coca-Cola car of Jack Bird, currently in 9th position. So I'll give you a moment to look at that. Car split down the middle, 2 different colours, Coca-Cola branding on the bottom. We've got a rainbow on the diffuser, Union Jack on top, RWB on the ends of the wings. Nice, very nice. Car number 67, Andre Moy. Wow, I've always liked that. They've done a fabulous job of putting that livery together. Yep, I love it. Where are we next? Scrolling down, number 95.
Thank you, Thomas from Bexley Racing. Thanks for the donation. Much appreciated. I might need to just do a catch up on donations to make sure we haven't missed any, but I'll let you finish with the livery run through first.
I can't see car number 95. Where is it on the position ladder? My brain rotting. Raven West 20 Motorsports. Are they still in the race? I think they might not be. Okay, so you can't have that. That's not there anymore.
I was scanning through in spectator mode to pick these cars up.
Oh, right. Okay. Did I have
as opposed to just looking in the list, I was watching them drive on the circuit. So, see them in position on the track. So hopefully they're still around.
Cannot see car number 95. Car number 100, which is turn 1. We've had a fair bit of airtime for turn 1 with Ari now in the driving seat. Let's take a look at that. That's the Ferrari. What's the flashing light on the back, by the way?
It's the rain light. Maybe they're hoping for rain in the last... Oh, yeah, good point. Well, maybe it doesn't on this car. It's not an F1 car, so they're not recouping energy.
No, fair point. Yeah, that is a nice design, isn't it? With a kind of cross-diagonal, luminous, yellowy lime colour. Wouldn't think pink would go with that colour, but they've pulled those accents off nicely.
And the rabbits, of course.
And the rabbits, of course, which we talked about earlier. I added Dutch and Deutsch. We've had a look at that already. 1337, you've got to mention, apart from the fact that they've just had an absolutely stellar race here. CSAM at the front, that is a great livery. Not going to zoom in on the image on the side just in case, but
it's actually car 96. But that's where I got confused. When you look through in spectator view, you're looking at our list. We've got car 96, and if you look through our sheet, we don't have a car 96. So it might be a typo on our part. I think that is. Well, you can see the liveries as the same. That is the Raven West team. That's the one I'm after.
Gotcha. We'll see if I can find that in a minute. Car 190 I'm looking for, which was also on the list. Currently being driven by Peter Varga. Double click. Yeah, there you go. Okay, you like your luminous yellow.
Well, this was the Minardi-inspired historic livery. So I honestly, it stirs up that... what's the word I'm looking for? I've lost the word. It'll come
nostalgic.
Back to me. Yes, thank you. Nostalgia was the word I was looking
Still
for.
Got my
it's
vocabulary.
The old boy thing kicking in again.
Okay, let's have a look at car number 227, currently being driven by Jürgen Walby. I've mentioned this a few times because I think they've chosen well with the colours. This kind of bright violety purple goes so well with those blues, and again, it's just not easy to get that kind of lining in a 2D template that you then overlay on the car. So I know
that's immaculate, isn't it?
It is immaculate. There's a lot of work that's gone into that, trying to get a decent camera close up to it. Currently I'd say so far I might put that as my favourite.
Yeah, it's great.
just working through here. Welcome, Charger. I'm just doing the most important thing, which is just doing a casual check of best liveries of the night.
So Crippled Potato popped up in chat and said, it's my livery, but I don't know which one he was talking about. Was he talking about car 96 or this one? Because Olwyn then jumped in and said, designed by us, mostly. So
are we having a fight?
What they should be doing here is putting the number in there, because I'm getting a bit lost because we're scrolling through here. Come on, guys, put the number in for the car that you were involved in designing, because I think it's important.
Yeah, and this is the final one on the selection list, the last AMG to get in there. Looking great there.
I love those shapes on the flanks.
Yeah, that's nice.
So
They've done a great job. Right, I'm gonna go for it. If I'm gonna stick my neck on the block here, I think this is probably one of the nicest schemes for the night. That's my favourite, and that's just my personal favourite. You can battle it out all you like on chat. Made my decision, and it's final.
Well, Crippled and Olwyn will be very pleased, because they just pointed out it's car 227 that they were involved in.
Nice. It really, that one really sings. Just great colour choice, apart from great patterns. Charger, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. You got a few guys waiting there.
To be honest, we're just going to run it through. I've just noticed that Ainor Rose is here. I'd really love to speak to her. She's been one of our drivers of the day. And Chris Crossman as well, of course. All the drivers have been at the front end have suddenly turned up. What do you think?
Drag them all in.
Drag them all in. Let's have a party.
Yeah, I'm having a beer now. I've finished.
Yeah, I bet you
don't blame me. I don't blame you. Right, let's get it going. Let's get everybody in here.
Ainor, welcome.
You're all coming in.
Chris, welcome. We're in the commentators booth with 32 minutes to go. I have to go first to Chris. Such a great race, and then suddenly it all went wrong. So sad for you. You're looking like you were top 3 podium position all the way there, Chris.
Yeah, we had a great time, and it's just unfortunate what happened, to be fair. But I think, we were coming up a Rouge, and the guy driving had a couple of back markers in front of him. He backed off a little bit, but when he went up there was just, I don't know if they put the brakes on or what, because one of them was trying to overtake the other or getting close. So he basically didn't know what to do, and he kind of lost it at the worst possible time. And Rouge is the one, and we've done a lot of practice there, and he's been really consistent. We all had been through a Rouge, so it was like. It was a bit of a shock when it happened. But
there's just nothing you can do, is there? I mean, even a reasonably aggressive, even a light lift going up there is going to put you right out of shape. So I take it you lost control of the car and ended up in a high-speed incident with the wall. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so basically when he backed off before Rouge, but obviously, like I said, he had to up there, and he just went off a bit, and we hit the wall, and we had 5 minutes worth of damage, and the car wasn't actually moving along the Kemmel Straight. He couldn't get it out of the grass, so we had to return to pits, and we're not sure at this moment what happened, because we did have 5 minutes. But we're not sure if it changed tyres or if it was just they were that cold. When he went back out, he was complaining that the tyres felt really, really gone, and he was basically sliding a bit. And we were obviously a bit heartbroken at that point. And the other person who had left to go and have some food had said, "Oh well, you can try and finish the race if you want, guys." But I think the nerves had kind of went at that point, and the heart. We were only 15 minutes away from handing over the fastest guy, and if we'd done that, he was going to finish the race. And I think time-wise, everyone had to do the same amount of pits as us, so we were hoping that we might still be fighting for the lead from the end.
So where were you running at that moment in time? Were you second or third at that point?
No, we were first place.
You were first at that point. We missed it on the screen.
Well, we were in first. Who was it? I think it was Rose's teammate who was in about 12 or 13 seconds behind. And with the time, because of the 65-minute stints, we realised that obviously at that we'd had a drive-through at this point as well. I'm assuming most other people must have, because we had a drive-through earlier on. So we were surprised to be there after that, and we seen that everyone had to do the same amount of pits. So we were obviously about to hand over to our fastest guy to finish the race. But that's racing and stuff happens. But we had a great time, and there's been some great competitors on there. And we had some great battles, and
it's one of those things, isn't it? A 12-hour endurance race. It never stops being a battle. Just watching CSAM here making moves on the live stream here, it's kind of non-stop. But to come that far and then to have that happen is really difficult for you. But I mean, the best news of all is while you've been doing it, you've been helping everybody to help us to raise money, and at the minute we're nearly on to £3,400. So I know you're probably completely crushed by the result at the moment, but you've been involved in something that's really important. RWB have had a great time running this event, and it's for a great cause. So whether you won or not, I think you proved what you're capable of. Can't wait to have you back for another race.
Thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for having me. And
the
guys racing with me as well, because you guys made it what it is.
Thanks for dropping in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Go and have a beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers,
There's a few things going on while we're talking here. The chat is keeping us up to date. So Lentini's crashed at Radion, apparently.
I saw a spinner, didn't know whether it was Max or not.
And our livery winner, who's now in P21, had a disconnect. They're stuck in the pits. And they've lost 4 places so far. So it's just half an hour to go. That's just gutting.
Yeah, that is really annoying. I'm really pleased. We're just tracking in here with CSAM's team. Welcome, Einor. Thank you for joining us. You've been having an outstanding race. I'm going to say fastest racer on the circuit.
Thanks. Yeah, it was really fun. So around 20 minutes ago, I think, CSAM hit someone at the top of Radion, which forced us to do a pit stop for repair. So we lost around 30 seconds there, because we had to take a pit anyway to reset the sim timer.
Okay, didn't know that. Okay, so you're still very much comfortable in the front here. I mean, I'm looking on the track here and it's saying it's 3.8 seconds. You've got lead on Christoph Tavarian, but that gap was 5.8 seconds a few laps back. You're going to be able to hold this?
Yeah, I think it's mostly traffic, because they're mostly on the same pace when there's no back markers. And we're pretty positive that P2 will need to reset the stint timer, so go through the pits at least one time. So I think we're safe on that one.
Okay, yeah.
Because you certainly had 100 seconds of lead at one point in the race. So I was thinking exactly the same thing. P2 must have another pit stop that they've got to do. So
they were on the same strategy as us when we came in last time.
Okay. So you're still feeling comfortable that you've got this one in the bag then?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Where did you actually qualify? I think you're in the top...
P3.
P3, okay, so you've got to be happy with this, right?
Yeah. We didn't actually quite expect it, because we knew the Aston wasn't so good on one lap pace. But it turns out that on a 5 laps hotstint, it equalized things quite a bit.
I think, by the way, I think you've had a great race, and honestly, I think you've been solid all race. All 3 of you seem to be pretty much tracking at the same pace. Do you have a fast driver in the team, or are you all just stupidly fast?
I was the fastest, but they both did a great job. And really, in teams like that, it's the slower driver that have the biggest part of the job.
Yeah. Why do you say that? As in,
because for them, if they have legs experience, I think it's harder to work to a certain delta. It's harder to go the length, to go to the end of the stint, to adapt to the back markers, and so on and so on.
Yeah, and actually that's one of the things we've picked up the whole time is you can be as fast as you like around this track, but how many overtakes do you think you've done in this race? Back markers and for position?
For position, 2. For back markers, I don't know, 100, 200 maybe.
Yeah, and each one is an opportunity for something to go wrong, isn't it?
Yep, exactly.
I think you've had a stellar race. 24 minutes left to go of the race. Thank you very much, by the way, for helping us be part of this event. 3,000.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a pleasure, and fingers crossed you can keep it on the track. And like you said, if you're tracking the same strategy, you've got this one in the bag. We'll see. Interesting to see Ares has actually made it to 3rd place. I can imagine he'll be very happy with that performance as well, given that his team have been doing really well. They've come up through the ranks as well. So really appreciate it. Thanks very much for joining us, Einori.
Thank you.
Thanks. Fingers crossed for the rest of the race. Bring it home.
Indeed.
Indeed, yeah. Elgard, what happened?
The car.
Yeah, that's right. The car. All along the car, right?
Yeah. We don't completely know what happened. We're still in shock over what what really went on. The car just didn't feel like it should, and as I said earlier, like we practiced for a certain line, and we just couldn't take that line anymore. So after I left last time, we crashed once or twice again. But now we've changed the car so much that it's safe, but it's a little slower.
Yeah, and it's funny because all three of you must have had the same feeling about it, right? It's not like one of the drivers in the team have just said, I can't handle this.
No, everyone has crashed. I think we have. I've calculated it together, and we have used at least 20 minutes in pit.
Yeah, at least 20 minutes in the pits. Wow.
Least
Okay.
20 minutes.
Okay, that's not what you call. Yeah, that's not going to get you at the top end of the track, is it? You're just
No,
putting in a
it's not.
220 there. Your best lap was in the 218s. So in certain parts of this race, you've been very fast. I mean, a 218 is right up there in the top of the table, and I know all of your drivers are very fast. So it's just been something about adapting in this race to the new model. Is that what you feel?
Well, I'm not sure if it's adapting. It's just when we got into this race, like we practiced before the race and we practiced yesterday, and everything felt fine. But when we got into the race and there was a lot more cars on the track, the frame rate dropped a little, and the car just felt more sluggish. And all of a sudden, it just didn't drive like we wanted it to. And yeah, now we're doing, as you said, mid-20s, but we also have changed a lot on the car, so it's not going to do 18s anymore at all.
Yeah, and no matter what you do with the car, you're not going to get 218s out of it. So you're best to just relax with what you've got and just drive it to the end. I guess that's your goal, isn't it? Just finish it.
No, right now our goal is actually to catch 29.
Okay.
So that's our little fun goal.
And what's the gap? I can't see that on my screen, but what's your gap between you and Smith?
I can't see it right now, but it's quite close. He's going through Blanchimont, and we're going out until the straight
tracking
on.
in the back of him. I can see a gap here saying 2.3 seconds. That looks about right, actually. So I do have some gapping information, but
there it is, 14 seconds.
14. Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm never getting the right feedback here. Okay, so 14 seconds in 21 minutes. Are you on track to do that?
Possibly. Verstappen doing very, very well. Like he's very awesome, and we were just like our little mini game has been: can we do a Rouge just clean and not crash?
Yeah, I mean you're setting the standard very low here, but I love it. It's like every lap you're having to negotiate that one corner, and every time you make it through, it's like okay.
Yeah, and like the heart rate is going from like mid 100s to like plus 200 somewhat every time.
So if you had your time again, and you knew what you know now, I mean, even in a week, do you think you'd be able to get used to this car, or would you just say, oh, just pick a different car?
No, the car is it's really awesome, but we would make a setup that was ready for frame drops and more safety. Like that's possibly what we would do differently, and more testing with the new Tyre update.
We didn't have much time to test, though, in all fairness. When did this drop? It was Wednesday, wasn't it, the update?
Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday or something like that.
By the way, Crippled Potato has just put into the chat, Elgard's car gets the award for the most impressive airborne crash at Raidillon. So
yeah, we've had some huge crashes. One of them with Valerie coming up there. He was going straight, and we actually got a warning for going through, going full speed under yellows, but we can't lift off, otherwise we crash. So.
I see. So yeah, that's what you'd say to the stewards at the end of the race. Okay, we appreciate we didn't slow down for a yellow, but if we'd slowed down, we would have been dead.
Yeah, exactly. We would have made it worse. Well, we still did, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great, isn't it? I honestly, when we did the practices, I think you guys were top 3 both times we did practices, if my memory serves
We won
right. So
both of the practices, so
you won both of them. I recognized your names. So it's always been a bit of a thing. What the heck are they doing in 30th? You'll be more surprised than me. So when you did the first practice, that was a week ago. So on the old time model, old situation. And on Wednesday, I think we just jumped onto the new version, hadn't we?
Yeah, it just arrived, but I wasn't wet, so we didn't get the full feel.
True.
So Dalking has made it past Jardier while we've been talking, so we're in the last 20 minutes, and that rivalry is playing out on track. Those guys are really close.
Okay,
the ending of this is going to be very awesome. Like, second place is within 2 seconds almost, and D-King is catching up to third place, so yeah.
Loving it.
I think Aris has probably got just enough pace. I've been watching this for the last couple of laps, and he's keeping him such that he's only made 2 tenths on him in 2 laps. So I think if he maintains that pace, the Turn 1 team are going to take the P3 spot. We're also expecting Taverian to come in for a splash and dash, but he's still out there. He's still pushing. He's still closing.
I'm sure there's a lot of chatter on their radio to work out if it's worth the risk or not. I mean, they're currently in second place in a Pro-Am car, doing a fabulous job, as we watch Dalking closing in on the back of a back marker, and hopefully lets both of those cars through. Good work. So this is 2 of our guests here. Basically watching Dalking, who has his own stream community, racing with his community team car, and we have Jardier chasing him in behind, and both of them are what I'd probably class as alien drivers whenever I've seen them online. And I can never work it out, Dana. It's like hard enough when you watch people racing, is they race and talk. Well, at least Jardier races and talks. How does he do it? It's nuts.
Yeah, obviously I've done that with some of the work we've been doing with the other team that we're looking at some charity stuff with, and I lose a second and a half when I try and talk about what I'm doing on a lap.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for jumping in, Elgard. You're welcome to join us for the run-in if you want to. Charger's also here as well, which is good. So jump in at any time you want to have a chat. We're 16, nearly 17 minutes from the end of this race, and it's looking like it's hotting up indeed.
Yeah, no worries, and glad to be a part of all this. By the way, some info if you don't have it. As far as I can calculate, second place is like 2 minutes off from finishing the race, so they have to stop.
Yeah, I saw that on the chat as well, seeing the pattern here. So it's really a fight. If Taverian's out of this race in terms of position, then it's looking like Aris for second, Dalking for third. But I guarantee on Jardier's channel right now, they're all getting very hot under the collar about getting a podium position from their great enemy, Dalking.
Yeah, well, great race, guys. I'm going to be off.
Thank you very much, Elgard.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us, and well done. Great racing.
Looking forward to the next one.
Yep, we are too.
I don't think Aris, the Turn 1 team, are close enough to P2. I think they can pit and come back out again, but I'm not entirely sure. We're going to have to watch that.
Okay, we'll keep a track of this. You still alive, Charger?
Yeah, I'm wailing through these birds.
That's the spirit.
Do you know what? I need a top up now you've said that.
Okay, I can't.
Give me a minute. I'm running down to the fridge.
Right, you swine. It's not fair. Everyone's just done so well. What are we on? We're on the 13th hour or thereabouts. Amazing target, 3394. I'm just going to make sure I get one more in before the end of the race.
It's amazing. The TK's family have seen it as well. They're chuffed.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. I think it's easy to do. You know, these events are just made so much more easier when there's a more meaning to them. We all enjoy the hobby, but you know, when you're raising money for charity, it just feels that much more enjoyable somehow.
It does, yeah. It does, definitely.
Right. clicking through my buttons here just to make sure I get that final donation in. We've had so many generous donations throughout the night. It doesn't matter whether it was 5 or 200. Everyone's donation is as valuable as the next. It's been wonderful, and thank you so much for joining us and actually making that all happen. We've got a couple of things to just deal with towards the end of the race. Oh look, Beanster donated. That was nice. We've got a couple of things to deal with towards the end of the race, but we'll just track this as Dalking looks to me like he's trying to extract absolutely everything out of his car.
We're getting some great info out of the chat, and it's what I would be normally doing on your behalf. But you know, I was in the pit stop. By the way, I think none of these teams have got anything on me. How quick was that pit stop? Down to the fridge, pour some wine in, run back upstairs, jump back in the booth, and I'm ready to go again. I mean, how long did that take?
Yeah,
wine?
Wine?
Well, I'm trying to bring a bit of class, quite honestly. It's because I'd run out of beers, so I had to find something.
Got it. Thanks for that. I feel, my homemade beer now feels pathetic compared to your whatever that is.
What was I going to say? There's a real chance for the Turn 1 team to take P2. Apparently, it's going to be to the wire. So we should keep an eye on that when Taverian comes in for the pit. It's going to be so close. We're going to want to be watching that pit exit.
Oh, but the gap between Taverian and Aris in third is big enough for when they exit. You're saying it's going to be marginal when Taverian comes back out. Okay.
I haven't gone and checked this on Pitwall because it's all over the place at the moment for me. I'm not quite even seeing the teams in the right order, but I'm getting some info from Roland's Racing in the chat to say P3's 1 minute 30 behind P2, and we're looking at about 1 minute 35 for a pit.
Appreciating the support on the chat channel because the IQ points have been dropping off after about 9 p.m. this night.
It's been a long day for you guys. You've done well.
It's been really good fun. I probably won't sleep, but it's been really, really good fun.
I'm getting the mic ripped out of me now in chat for my wine choice. There we go. What can I say?
You opened yourself up to that. Okay. Less said about that, the better. We'll just brush over that.
Oz, right? I mean, you can't go and spend a load of time in Oz, work for an Australian company, and not be into a wine or two. That's just the way it is.
So just to make sure everyone's got enough fodder to extract from you as much as possible, what wine is it?
It's a Pinot Gris from Hawke's Bay in New Zealand, a 2019.
Nice.
I am actually part of the Naked Wines Angels team, which is
supporting
up and coming wine growers. And all it basically means is I stick 20 quid in their account every month and I don't think about it. And then every now and then they ping me an email with an offer and go, hey, if you just throw an extra 30 quid in, we'll send you a case of wine. So it's a bit like a Christmas club, but it's for wine.
I like it. And you're saying Pinot Gris is right at this time of the evening on a Saturday night, yeah?
That's just what I had in the fridge.
Gotcha.
I'm not going to tell you anything about notes of compost and I just like it. I either like a wine or I don't.
Yeah, let's keep away from that.
Anyway, there's 10 minutes to go. Here I am babbling on about wine. I mean, what's going on?
Time and tiredness. Taverian is 1.5 seconds. What's been really interesting to me, so beside the strategy here about Taverian having to make one more pit stop, just constantly closing that gap in on CSAM. Now, they know this. So I'm going to figure if you're Taverian at the minute, you're thinking to yourself, put as much pressure on CSAM in front of you as you can, just for the hell of it, even though you might have to splash and dash in this final 10 minutes of the race, but just to see what happens. I mean, he's proving himself at the top of the pace here. He's just pulling that gap in lap over CSAM. But we just had an Orion, CSAM's teammate, and said, not worried about it. This is comfortable strategy for us. We'll hold this win. So we'll see how this plays out with a battle happening behind between Dalkin and Hongsig, which I'll keep my Jardier, which I'll keep my eye on as well. I can't see that gap is particularly dropping off here. You can see Dalking ahead.
So he's 5.8 behind at the moment. And we go back a handful of laps, it was about 7.5. So he is closing, but it doesn't feel like he's closing quick enough to make this happen in the next 9.5 minutes. But he's certainly going to be close. There's all sorts of stuff going on at the end of this race. It's mad.
It is mad. Everyone complaining about Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Well, certainly some of the BMW, Mercedes cars really struggling with that. There's something that's obviously changing their behaviours. It was interesting to hear Aris talking about it a little bit earlier about muscle memory and how sim racers spend hours and hours and hours on this in their rigs doing these races. And when something changes in the physics, that it's difficult to accommodate it because you've created that muscle memory. And actually, that's one of the things, isn't it? We want this game to continue to get updated. We want to see it improved all the time. We love it, but it's great when games get improved and they're continuing to invest in it. It's frustrating when you see a company release a piece of software and then they seem to leave it on the shelf and leave all the customers behind. So they're definitely continuing to invest in ACC, and I can see why it's really going through the roof. That was something you mentioned before, Charger. People are really buying into ACC and the RWB community quite a lot.
It's been fantastic for us, really. I mean, the take-up on ACC. I mean, of the 1,700 members, over 1,000 have got ACC. So it's so popular.
Yeah.
I actually think, I did cop what Aris was saying. I was talking to Chris Crossman in there before he came into the chat, and it is definitely different. And your muscle memory, you've got so used to it before that it is different and it feels weird, or it might be slower, but I actually think it feels better.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I've only had a handful of laps in this since Wednesday, and I'm a big AMG driver, so I'm used to driving that a lot. But yeah, I must admit, I felt like there was more feel to it, so that was my gut instinct straight off. I didn't check any of my times, but yeah, I think it feels better too. I think they've worked better on it.
I felt the same. I jumped in the Ferrari. We didn't set it to 2020, so we weren't running the DHE tyre. We were just running, the existing tyre with the new physics. And I felt a lot more mid-corner information. So if the car started to let go a little bit naturally, I could really feel that going on in the wheel. I felt like I could react to it. So it definitely felt different. I think I was going to be slower, but I think it's just adapting to it. But overall, I agree with you, Charger. I think it felt better. I felt like I knew what was happening. That can only be a good thing.
I haven't tried the GT4 yet. I'd be interested to try those because I quite like the GT4.
Oh, that's a good point. Not tried them either. Tell us a little bit about the way we ended up with a GT3 only race, and you've probably got a backstory.
Oh, can we switch to P2? He's in the pits, I think.
Oh, he's in the pits.
I think. No, got it wrong. I got excited there.
Yeah, getting very excited. Not quite yet.
Drink your peanut.
Carry on. Ignore me.
What's the score? There's a reason why we didn't run GT3s and GT4s, Charger.
Yeah, from the statistics that we've come across, we had a poll and 79 people wanted multi-class, but then when we did a multi-class league, there was only about 25% of people in the GT4. So even though they want multi-class, people don't want to drive the GT4s.
That's interesting, isn't it? That everyone wants multi-class so that they can be in the GT3 to be faster.
Yeah, that's the way it seems. Yeah, so we were, we could have ended up with 10 GT4s, so it didn't seem worth doing a multi-class because they would have just been rolling roadblocks,
Yeah.
So we went GT3. Maybe the next endurance will be just GT4s.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Actually, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Just a GT4 endurance race, that would create a completely different style of racing. Yeah, very different grip. I quite like the GT4s, and like most people, when they first released it, I was anticipating lots and lots of cross, multi-class racing going on. But I think one of the things that's hard to learn if you've not done a lot of track time in ACC is how to behave when you're a backmarker, or how to behave when you're a faster car. And that just takes time, practice to learn how to, be overtaken properly without committing, giving up too much of your own lap time.
Yeah, I mean, the last league we did with the GT4s, I was in the GT4s, and it does take some skill to be passed by, 3 or 4 GT3 cars at the same time.
Yeah, you feel like you're being mugged, don't you?
You do feel like you're being mugged every single time you get past. It's like, well, I can't, you can't block them. You can't stay with them. You just got to let them pass.
So in obviously the real multi-class racing, the general rule is the GT4s stay online. They stay on their race line, and it's up to the faster car to find a way past it. Is that what we've been practicing?
Try P2 again, please. I'm feeling more confident this time.
Yeah, I see it on my board.
Here we go. Here we go. This is it. What's going to happen with Aris and Taverian leaving the pits?
So let's look. Where's Aris currently running? He's running down Double Gauche, is that?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got all of Paul Frere yet to go. Looks too far back for me. But then I suppose we're saying it's a 1:38 in pit time for Christopher here in second place.
Frantically shift clicking here to pick up Taverian while we're watching Aris. Oh, yeah. Okay, you've switched.
I'm just tracking them both. I'm just switching between two. So Aris is now making his way out of Stavelo, by the look of it, to climb Paul Frere, and Taverian hasn't yet stopped as far as I can see. Oh, now I'm going to change my point of view. If he hasn't yet actually stopped to make his splash and dash,
he's on his way out. He's on his way out.
He is, isn't he? Oh yeah, He's exiting the pits. Okay, so let's just check where Aris is.
I think they're going to be clear. Yeah,
they're going to be clear too. Just coming into chicane before the start-finish race, and I think Taverian's on the throttle already. So not quite as close as maybe we thought. And that is validating CSAM and Aonor's discussion earlier. They had it in the bag in terms of race position with Taverian. Aris has caught up, but not enough.
And Dalking's just picked up a drive-through, so maybe pushing hard to catch on P3 and has pushed past the cut track warnings.
And he's absolutely has to serve that. That's blown it for Dalking. I'd be absolutely destroyed there. Interesting to hear what Jardier's fan base is saying right now, because this would be fourth position for Jardier if he can take this, and Aris looking comfortable in third position as well. So interesting here. A lot of the kind of content creators and streamer guys, they're in the top 6 here, which is good to see. Good for their subscriptions, good for their business as well. And they brought a lot to the race as well, which has been great. I hope any one of their fans has jumped onto the RWB stream at some point and thought to themselves, I'd like to join that club as well.
We've had quite a few people join today, actually. It's been
fantastic.
Yeah, about 50, I think.
I think it's great. Everyone that drops into the chat, even if they've had a disaster, and they've had a really bad race, but they're still they're still recovering. They've got great things to say, about the drivers around them, the community, and the general feel of taking part in an event like this. And I think that's a credit to RWB and the way they go racing.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
So Jake's team, Bexley, have moved up into P8. I mean, that happened quite a few laps back, but absolutely stunning performance from that team, from P34 on the grid. The top AM team by a country mile. They've got to be so incredibly happy with this.
Yeah,
interesting. We've got a minute left to run now.
Yeah, and when we had a chat with Jack earlier on in the race, everything was about keep your head down, keep out of trouble, keep your head down, keep out of trouble. That seems to be a common theme here. But yeah, like I said, 46 seconds left of this race. We're tracking our current leader, CSAM. Looks like he's going to bring it in for the final section of this race, with Taverian in second, Aris in third, Dalking in fourth. Stepan Kutnik has made it up to fifth. What's happened to Jardier?
I think he's had to do a stint reset. So I think he's had to come in the pits because he was banging up against his stint time.
Aye. Good shout.
So it's just marginal at the end here. We've done 12 hours and right at the end it's just all happening.
So Dalking's not going to make fourth position because he has to serve his drive-through. Stepan's going to inherit fourth position, which means that our Podium positions will be CSAM, Tveren, and Aris. Well done to those 3 teams for making it all the way through and going through. So I need to run through here before the end of the race as CSAM crosses the finish line. Stepan in 5th, Christopher in 6th. Actually, probably the other way around. It's going to be 7th there. So Jack Bird might actually make 7th place here because Dalking has to serve a drive-through. And that's thrown some of the times, of course. So, yeah, obviously the celebration burnouts. Thank you to everyone for racing. It's been absolutely amazing. If I run through here, there'll probably be some position changes, but Jack Bird 8th, Petter Peck 9th, Finn finished in 10th, Martin Schaefer in 11th, Crawford Brown in 12th, Alistair Leckie in 13th, Voodoo Child in 14th, Matthew Santiago in 15th, Henrik Rocha in 16th, Andre Moy in 17th, Peter Varga 18th, Fabian Peasons in 19th, Otto Winkler in 20th, Yannick Ranbach in 21st, Marco Badowski in 22nd, Menacing Skull 23rd, Ian Mackey in 24th, Patrick Nemsovsky in 25th, Hax in 26th, Karzolia in 27th, Scott Freet 28th, Verstreppen in 29th, Alex Smith in 30th, Pinners in 31, Pereira in 32, Juan Miranda in 33, Gotham Srinivasan 34, Thomas Hinz 35, James Butter in 36th, Thomas Kersen in 37, Dirk Gretschel in 38, Tiger in 39, Greedy Me in 40th, Daniel Barnett in 41st, Emilio Souza in 42nd, and Sahara in 43rd. That's 43 drivers out of 50 who've made it through 12 hours. You should all pat yourselves on the back, crack open some fancy wine, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Well done to everyone. We've you choose your own. And we made 3,400 at this point.
Amazing.
Exhausted. I don't know about you.
Oh, well, we've got a handful of minutes left. I feel like I need to wind down. I'm wondering if we break the 3.5 with a few late donations. You never know, but I mean, I'm not saying anyone else should donate.
Guys, so I'll catch you in a bit.
All right,
catch you later.
Cheers. I'm not saying anyone else should donate because they've been more than generous. I mean, incredibly generous. Just plant. I like to plant the seed.
Indeed. Nice. It's 12 hours. Why don't you just shred those tires? So while we're on, and Charger's got some admin stuff to jump to, let me just check through here a second, just to track a couple of things. Big thank you to everyone. That target may increase. It may increase over the next short period of time. Well done to everyone for taking part of the race. Big thank you to the stewards. Like we said earlier, thankless task. You're constantly getting grief by people who think they're in the right, and you've done a fantastic job of keeping on top of all of those, and adds such an important degree of professionalism to the racing. If you've had an incident, it's going to be dealt with fairly. So real kudos to the guys for working so hard. Everyone who's done it, FX for all of the streaming gear and making sure that I got reconnected all the time, and basically creating a room that's probably at 150 degrees Fahrenheit with his double servers on max. Just well done, everyone. You've absolutely been absolutely fantastic. I have one more thing to mention here, which is, let me just check in my messages. We have a winner. So if you remember at the top of the story, we talked here about one of our sponsors, Next Level Racing. They have been very kind enough to donate a wheel stand light to one of the racers who finished this race. And so we've already generated a kind of random selection for that member of the team. And the winner to that goes to Scrimpy Data in car number 666. We'll be in touch with you, Scrimpy Data. You've just got yourself a free wheel stand light for your efforts. So thank you very much. And that was a free giveaway. Obviously, we've had the team from Turn 1 and also from Racing Taxi who have been donating. We're currently at £3,414. Well done to everyone. 12 hours of racing, sim racing is hard work. You'll have a relaxing day tomorrow while you recover from the racing. And we just give ourselves a couple of minutes. I'm going to grab myself a quick drink. I'm going to stay online, but go mute for a little while just to have a moment.
We've got a million people waiting for comms. Let's just bring them all in. Have an after-race party.
I actually pressed the wrong button. I was talking to my team, then I said I had to go on stream. Glad you mentioned that about the next level racing. Also, to top that as well, the winning team all get a pair of sim socks, care of Carzolia of Simsock, and also an ACC license from Racing Sim Tools, courtesy of Xeract as well.
Wow, that's great.
So
it's great.
Yeah, on top of Scrimpy Data's rig as well. Yeah, it's quite nice.
Yeah. If you want, Charger, we can just jump everyone who's in waiting for comms in. Just drag them all in, have a bit chit chat. I'm going to have a quick beer. Well, actually, yeah.
Yeah, you chill out, mate. You've earned it, I think.
I'm going to take a back seat and let everyone just tell us their crazy story of why they should have won but didn't win.
I just want to say thanks for letting me be part of this. I found it really hard to step away. I think we ended up only having maybe an hour and a half all told away from the stream, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's just been fantastic.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Thank you, Theo.
Thanks to everyone in RWB.
You, Theo, honestly, it's been great. I've been watching it all day.
I'm going to watch it all day tomorrow. Let me get a beer. Back in a mo.
So you're all in the chat booth now. There's loads of us. I'm just grabbing everybody. I'm grabbing all of you. We're all in the commentators booth.
Nice.
It's getting a bit crowded in here. There's booze on tap. There's bottles of wine. Help yourself.
Where's the champagne? Where's the champagne?
So that means the Alcoholics get Prosecco, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
You guys put a great show on. You put a great show on today. There were many stories that we heard about throughout the day. Some not good, but some people recovering and actually making the most of it and just enjoying it. And like Si said, I'm gonna step back now, but I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to all of your stories and watching the action on track. And we wanted to be part of the event. We were too slow off the mark. I mean, these are popular events, but commentating on it has been a fantastic experience. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna stop now and take a glug of wine.
Thanks for organizing. It was just amazing.
Absolutely, yes.
Agreed. Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm dead, but we did it.
Amazing.
Well done, guys. Well done, everybody. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, I was getting a bit worried about the server, but it held up.
I saw those red numbers going up and up.
Yeah, I know. My bottom was going smaller and smaller.
I didn't know 200 was a possible number on the server. 200 ping.
It is now.
Oh, that was perfect timing. Now my game crashed.
Oh yeah.
Mine did too.
I did the same when I quit.
That was destiny.
I must also say, as an humble amateur, it's been amazing to drive with VOPs you see on streams and people working on the game. It's just amazing experience.
Amazing.
All right, guys.
Events have been quite very good, except of the first half an hour was a little chaos, but I think the rest of the event have been flawless, really. I think it's the first time they do a 12 hours, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very, very good. Very, very good.
How much money did they raise?
So we're currently sitting at £3,424, I think.
That's amazing.
Oh, amazing. Well done, guys. Congrats. Big congrats.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, and I'm glad also that there was 43 cars on the line, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And thanks to everyone for staying on track and keeping the race interesting for everyone.
Yeah, it's just non-stop action. I guess you are genuinely racing for 12 hours, aren't you? It's not like you have a good hour where the track is empty. Even on a big track like Spa, with this many cars, you've always got something to tackle every lap.
No, I'm fresh, like newborn baby.
Daisy.
So nice. I mean, let's do another one right now. Yeah.
Let's do 24 hours straight off.
Solo, no teammates, just you, yeah?
Yeah, of course. Obviously,
yeah.
Obviously.
Survival of the fittest, we call it.
That's a great finish, by the way, Aris. Bringing your car home there. You got to be quite happy with that. Team did so well.
Oh, well, I mean, you can't even understand the pressure at the last stint. It was unbelievable. We had all the aliens behind us closing slowly. I was lapping the poor backmarkers like no tomorrow, just get off my way, get off my way.
Yeah.
Like
pushing.
So I really have to thank you, Wilhelm and Oskar, because they really pushed me over my limits. They helped me. They did the setups, they did the strategies, they did everything. So big thanks to those guys. And obviously they did some amazing mega stints to place us where we were.
Yeah, just really, to be honest, you're being a bit humble there. The whole team was really solid on your laps of just really consistent times. It does help, I guess, if you do this for a living, right, Wilhelm? It does help, Oskar. Sim racing's very different, but you guys are pretty handy when it comes to the real thing. So,
not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah. but the sad thing about is we can't do anything else. Yeah, so we can't even start up this season in the morning. So we have to ask our girlfriends, our wives, to help us out with everything. So we can't do anything else than driving. Yeah.
Well, there's always commentary. You see, if you can't drive, you commentate.
That's a good idea, actually. But I think you guys do it quite awesome. So I don't think you guys.
Yeah, it was a beautiful broadcast. Seriously, you're very professional. This was just lovely to watch. I listened every second with one ear on the broadcast. That was just something amazing. Seriously.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much. There's so much to talk about. Really appreciate that. And I did mention it on the stream, and this is something maybe for development. We got we got in a stick, didn't we, Dan, when we did an endurance race and ended up getting disqualified 35,000 times. And it was not possible to clear our disqualifications. That's our fault, right? But we'll never race again because we're now under a cloud of shame because nobody will ever race with us again.
Speak for yourself. But Aris, at the end there, Dalking was closing you down, but not hugely. I mean, you were not far off his lap time, and I don't think he had enough time to get on the back of you anyway, to be quite honest. So, like I said, you shouldn't put yourself down. I think you had that position regardless of what happened at the end there.
Yeah, he did pick up a drive-through as well, right? Pain.
So much pain.
Yeah. What's the force feedback setup on your rig right now?
It's high, the damn thing. I always keep it high, and I'm dead. I'm dead.
No, 25 max for me. Just wrists would fall apart.
Jesus.
That was an amazing event, really. It was amazing to be a part of.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was really great to be part of as well. I enjoyed it. I think I am going to pass out now.
I feel completely monged.
Agreed.
Pass out.
Pass out. I'm going to faint. Yeah. Yeah. Well done, everyone. I'm so pleased. I am literally going to drop off and go to bed and stare wide-eyed at the ceiling until sleep takes me.
Same here, guys. Thank you so much again.
Yeah.
Congrats for the event. Congrats for the charity. And what can I say? To a bigger success, right? So thank you again.
Yeah.
Wilhelm, we have to train for tomorrow's race at Silverstone. We take a step now.
I can't believe it. So we definitely have to do this now, Oskar. This is not a joke.
Oh my God!
Oh, and a good point in the chat, by the way. Big shout out to the Flying Dutchman team. Just donations all the way through the race. Just incredible.
Yeah, crazy. Thanks to everyone. Night. Sleep well. I'm sure you all will, and I'll catch you up on another one soon. I hope.
Take care.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you,
take
mate.
care, guys.
See you next time.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.